tear in my eye. Bryan Danielson is the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And the reign of Swerve Strickland is over. For now. How many times do I have to tell you guys? I've been preaching this every single week for the last several months. And if it doesn't resonate with you after tonight, if you don't get it after tonight, story is everything. Everything. AEW All In will go down as one of the greatest pay-per-views that the company ever puts on. And they hit a fucking grand slam tonight, man. Absolutely hit a grand slam tonight. It was not all perfect, though. It was not all perfect. But the top matches, most of them, everything was absolutely incredible. And Wembley, I know you're still going to get some geeks. Oh, well, they didn't do 80,000 people. Let me tell you something, man. The 55,000 that were there, they were just as loud, if not louder, than last year's 81,000. So you could stick that narrative straight up your asshole. We're going to the beer garden, man. It's happy hour till 8 o'clock at least. Order several cold beverages, grab a seat, and let's chat on this Sunday afternoon. When I get there and walk through those doors, I want to know, what the fuck are you guys drinking? I'll see you over there.
Why has Triple H been so successful? Why is Triple H running WWE better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard on Monday and Friday night? Long-term booking.
Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is your AEW All In post show for August 25th, 2024. I am your host, JD from New York. As always, coming to you live from the OTS Beer Garden. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Sunday afternoons, wherever you may be. Flying solo tonight because Jesse had some family obligations. We'll be back together on Wednesday for the Fallout show following AEW Dynamite right here on Off the Script. Let me tell you something, man. I was in the building last year And I had a tremendous time visiting the country, feeling the energy, and just being around so much hype for the first show for this brand at Wembley Stadium. This year, I was not there, obviously. And this year's show blew last year's show out of the water. Not only in terms of aesthetics, but energy, match card, and the one most important thing that I've been preaching to the choir about, and I'm going to harp on it throughout the rest of this show, so you better get used to it. Story. The one most important thing that this show had over last year's show was story. No matter what you think of AEW, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you like I always am, they do have story. Are the majority of their stories great? Good? No. No, they're not. But this year was different. This year, the story is going into the match of Swerve and Bryan Danielson, MJF and Will Ospreay, Toni Storm and Mariah May. Those three stories carry this show to blow away last year's show by leaps and bounds. Story is everything. And if AEW can use this show as a foundation, as a blueprint for what matters most when it comes to professional wrestling, because we all know we can go into this blind as a fucking bat. We all know that AEW is going to deliver top-tier wrestling. Nobody does professional in-ring wrestling better than AEW. The one thing that they are severely lacking in is story. If they give us top-tier story, if they give us emotional story, if they give us story where we go into this feeling, then they will be on the right track. And I don't think anybody would really complain about the overwhelming negatives that seemingly arise every single week with AEW. If they were doing that, I don't think it would leave any room for people to complain. This show was tremendous in every sense of the word. Was it perfect? No, it was not. There were things I absolutely loved with what AEW did tonight. There are things that I did not like. We will obviously talk about all that. But from top to bottom, coming out of this, one of the best shows that Tony Khan has ever put on. And shout out to Tony Khan. No, the Venmo paycheck hasn't cleared. No, I'm not turning my back on Triple H and WWE. No, I'm not paid by either promotion. But I will say this in regards to Tony Khan. I give Tony Khan a lot of credit, and I give him a lot of heartache when he certainly deserves it. It never comes from a bad place. Ever. I think that was very much spoken on Wednesday's show. It's always about the creative. Always. But I got to give Tony Khan credit, and you, the fans, need to give Tony Khan credit when it matters most. Nobody does pay-per-view like Tony Khan. Nobody. Triple H is trying to get WWE back on the right track when it comes to pay-per-view. He's done a very good job at that, but Tony Khan is the leader in pro wrestling pay-per-view. Nobody does pay-per-view like AEW. You could go into this fucking blind and spend $50. And on the other end, you're going to come out and say, you know what? That was a damn good fucking show. He is the leader in giving us pay-per-view the way that it's supposed to be. But man, the other thing that Tony Khan does so fucking well, and I'm assuming this has to do with him being a fucking absolute maniac in the pro wrestling space and him just loving the sport so much. Man, when he is called upon to make a moment, Tony Khan has nailed it every single fucking time. And we've already seen that on more than one occasion this year. On more than one occasion. When someone is about to come on into the company and they receive the fucking reddest of carpets, The big aura, the big ambiance, the big pyro and the production and the environment. Tony Khan brings out the best in himself when he's debuting a new talent, when he got to get you excited about something. Nobody does it better. When Tony Khan wants to create a moment, look at what he did for Sting and his retirement. That was one of the greatest pay-per-views, maybe the single greatest pay-per-view that AEW's ever put on. And Tony Khan has mentioned that as well, that Sting and Revolution, his retirement at Revolution, was the greatest AEW production ever. And I would not disagree with that. He gave Sting one of the best pro wrestling retirements ever. It may go down as maybe one of the best of all time. It may be the best of all time. And Bryan Danielson tonight is no different. The moment he gave Bryan, the environment he gave Bryan, the spectacle that he gave Bryan tonight. I mean, we've seen great stories play out throughout the year, and I got to put that up near the very top, man. I mean, that was fucking incredible in the main event. Absolutely incredible. I had to hold back watery substance coming out of my eyes because I'm such a huge Bryan mark. I think everybody is. I don't think there's one single human being alive that has any ill will or negative things to say about Bryan Danielson. If you do, you're a fucking subhuman, and I don't even know if you're real. Honestly, I really don't know if you're an actual human being or not. I mean, there's nothing negative to say about Bryan. Absolutely zero to say about the man that we see weekly on television, Bryan Danielson. He won the AEW World Championship tonight in one of the most emotional matches that AEW's ever put on. The environment was fucking perfect. The crowd was incredible. I had people that listened to this show in attendance there. Shout out to Aussie. He was in attendance. He tweeted me, said, absolutely fucking just chills. The environment that was there when he won the championship. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. His family was in the front row. We got an appearance by Adam Page because he can't stand Swerve. We'll get to that tonight. Swerve, shout out to Swerve. You know, his world championship title run did not get off to the greatest of starts, and I'll harp on that as many times as you need me to, man. I mean, I don't know what the fuck they thought they were doing with this title run. It almost felt like the company didn't trust putting the championship on him, and they didn't know where they wanted to go. But I mean, the guy just completely perseveres through everything. He was not going to let this fail. Knowing where he came from and how he was treated in the E, to come on over to AEW and kind of battle his way through murky waters to get that main event spot with the Page feud, just kind of pushing him over to the next level. He was not letting this shit fail, man. It's almost as if you are seeing Swerve right before our very eyes, man. Just absolutely just... I don't know how to describe it. It's almost as if you're seeing him generate or regenerate as a super fucking human pro wrestler. It's like watching a movie and the villain... What was the name of that fucking movie, man? It's like watching The Mummy. And you go around collecting the fucking jars, and if you're in possession of the jars... right, he kills you and then takes back his body part, whether it's his eyes, his arm, his leg, his skin. It's almost as if you were watching Brendan Fraser's Mummy and Imhotep, the mummy, is regenerating throughout the movie until he gets to his final form. That's exactly what we're looking at when we see Swerve Strickland. It's almost as if he's just becoming stronger as this reign went on, and he's going to continue to get strong, because if you think he's not going to win the championship back, you got another thing coming, man. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, I don't believe they gave it to Bryan. I would have never let Swerve lose. Swerve is getting the title back. Swerve is getting the title back. Bryan's not going to be champion for as long as a Gunther title reign or a Cody Rhodes title reign or a Roman Reigns title reign. Bryan was simply given the title because it's a moment. You got to make the moments. When you got a moment, you got to take it. You got to do it. Even though he lost, he still just at the top of the fucking game right now. And you can't take that away from him. But man, oh man, the moment that they gave Bryan tonight, fucking incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. Adam Page made an appearance during the match. He made an appearance during the match because he did not win the Casino Gauntlet match. And I love that he was there. He needed to be there. So mixed with the environment, the crowd, Bryan coming out to Europe, his family in the front row, Swerve getting a big league entrance, and people wrapping him to the fucking ring. The ambiance, the aura, the environment of the match, Bryan's family sitting front row, Bryan bleeding, Bryan reaching out at every moment, trying to reach out to his family, the emotion all over Bryan's face, him uttering the words, I love you, I need you. Adam Page showing up. Adam Page basically got in Swerve's head. That led to Bryan tapping out Swerve and winning the AEW World Championship. Just a tremendous fucking story. Just a tremendous match that was enhanced by the story. I wasn't even huge on the story coming in. I was more invested in Mariah May and Toni Storm. I was more invested in MJF and Will Ospreay. I thought the Swerve Strickland story with Bryan Danielson was a good story. But they topped everybody's expectations tonight with the work that both of those guys did and just everything, the way that it played out. Fucking phenomenal. Just an unbelievable show. So Bryan's the world's heavyweight champion. We will discuss tonight where I think they go as we head into All Out. We already have two number one contenders. We got Darby Allin, who is the number one contender, who is a number one contender, I should say, because he won the Royal Rampage a couple of weeks back on Rampage. And then we got Christian Cage, who won the Casino Gauntlet match tonight. And a lot of people were wondering why he won the Gauntlet match and not Adam Page. So we got two number one contenders, and we could potentially see this be Bryan's run right here. Darby Allin and Christian Cage. What about Adam Page, who apparently everybody predicted to win the Gauntlet match? I'll give you the reason why Page did not win. I agree with you guys. I would have loved if Page won. But if Page won, then we had no reason for him to come out and interfere in the main event. So we'll talk about that tonight as well. Toni Storm and Mariah May. This will go down again as one of the greatest things that AEW has done in all 5 years. When you look back at 5 years, when we celebrate 5 years in October of AEW, what will be one of their most crowning moments? It will be Mariah May and Toni Storm. Again, the blueprint for what AEW needs to do moving forward. I don't know how we get there. I don't know how we get to where we have to be. Maybe Tony hires a fucking writing team. Maybe he hires some Hollywood writers to write this fucking shit every week. I don't know. But the story that was Mariah May and Toni Storm, again, rich, emotional, and it made it into a better match. It made the match. And it deserved the setting that it got tonight because of the story that we were given over the last 10 months. And Mariah May won the AEW Women's Championship, as she should have. Great match. We'll talk about that. I wasn't too pleased with the placement of that match. It went on second. I don't know why it went on second, but it did. Mercedes and Britt Baker, ice cold coming in and no better coming out. Who's to blame? The match went on after MJF and Will Ospreay. Why? The match had no story coming in. Why was it placed amongst the bigger matches on this show? That should have been second on the card, not Mariah May and Toni Storm, which was obviously the bigger story. It may have been the biggest story coming into this show. Why was Mercedes and Britt placed above Toni and Mariah? Gotta question that, gotta call it out. I don't know. Or backstage politics to blame. I won't be surprised. And I'm not even blaming Britt. I'm not even blaming Britt Baker on that. I don't think Britt had anything to do with that. I don't even think Britt wants to be here anymore, to be quite honest with you. She wrestled as if she doesn't give a shit anymore. I don't know why that was not in the beginning of the show. Mariah and Toni was not towards the end of the show getting the proper placement and proper treatment. MJF and Will Ospreay, tremendous match. Again, story. Whether you like MJF or not, whether you like Will Ospreay or not, story. They made you care. They gave you a story. MJF basically coming out as Max Creed tonight. I thought he looked like more Uncle Sam. But MJF comes out donned in the American flag. He's got Lex Luger's fucking trunks on from the 1993 SummerSlam when he was about to win the WWF Championship from Yokozuna in Detroit. He didn't win. Neither did Luger, really. He celebrated like he won, but he didn't win. He didn't win the World Championship that night. MJF did not win tonight. He did not retain the championship. Came out and dressed as the All-American MJF, walking into enemy territory, waving the American flag in Will Ospreay's home country. No matter what you think of MJF, the storytelling was fucking pristine. You need a heel to combat the babyface. MJF went above and beyond to give Will Ospreay a crowning moment in that man's career tonight. Simple and effective storytelling. The Tiger Driver. Was he going to use the Tiger Driver? Who was he going to use the Tiger Driver on? No better man than MJF, who's going to fucking cheat at any cost to win. And if he didn't use it, he was not beating MJF. And he used it and he beat MJF and won the now reinstated International Championship. It wasn't without interference, though. Daniel Garcia showed up. Looks like he's staying with AEW, I presume. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put him on the show. And potentially build to a match with MJF to All Out. But he showed up and punched MJF, caused MJF to basically sit there as if he's seen a ghost. And then he ate the Tiger Driver 91, 1, 2, 3, and MJF is no longer the American champion. Will Ospreay is the new international champion. And we got the return of Jamie Hayter tonight, which I see a lot of people agreeing with my take on that. She showed up on the 0-hour pre-show. See, these are the things that Tony Khan really needs to start paying more attention to, man. That is a complete fucking botch, if you ask me. Because nobody is thinking about Jamie Hayter coming out of this show tonight after all that we got. That was a botch of a return. Don't know where she gets slotted in. Don't know where she fits into this obviously different women's division since we last saw her. But putting her on the 0-hour pre-show was a fucking absolute waste. So we got a lot to talk about, guys. Thank you very much for joining me here on Off the Script. Again, flying solo. Jesse has family obligations. He watched the show with his kids. He had a great time. Him and I were texting back and forth during the show. He'll be back on Wednesday, as usual, for the AEW Dynamite post-show right here on OTS. But I thank you guys for joining me here, bro. I thank you guys for joining me. We got 2,600 people in here on a Sunday happy hour afternoon. If you guys are here, please hit that thumbs up. We got almost 800 likes, man. I'd love if we can get to 1,000 likes. That's the minimum tonight. Anything over that, you're going to make me a happy guy, man. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. If you're in the chat, I would really appreciate it. Super chats are open. Get them on, and we'll hang out at the end of the show. As always, it's a great way to support the show here. If you appreciate me spending time with you on this platform, super chats are always open. Make sure you go check out all the other content on the channel. Plenty of it. We were live all week. We had content go out on this channel all week. We had content go out on the second channel all week. If you missed anything, any highlights from the week, man, go and hit the subscribe button to the new channel, man. JD from NY Shorts. Link is down below in the description. We're nearing 5,000 subs after a week and a half, man. Thank you guys very much for that. Happy to see you guys enjoying the second channel. And I know a lot of people have been asking for something like that. I'm not going to really abuse that channel. I'm only going to take the biggest highlights and the biggest talking points from the week and put them over there because I know not a lot of people watch all the streams or cannot get to the streams when I'm live. So if you appreciate that, go over there and hit that subscribe button, man. Tonight's show is sponsored by my great friends over at Blue Chew. BlueChew.com is sponsoring the show tonight. Code JD at checkout. You guys are going to get a free sample when you sign up. Use that promo code. All you got to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to this channel down below. We're on our way to 162,000 subscribers. And follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. If you guys need to be updated on anything I do here, man, Twitter is the place to be. Everything gets filtered through Twitter or X. And then you guys are in the know right there via social media. Let's get to All In, man. We'll start with the 0 Hour pre-show. I did watch it. Nothing really major happened on the 0 Hour pre-show outside of Jamie Hayter's return. We got a big tag team match to open things off here to get the festivities started. We got Leo Rush, Dante Martin, Darius Martin, Action Andretti, Rocky Romero, and Kyle Fletcher. And Kip Sabian. And Tommy Billington. This was like a 16-man fucking tag. I mean, I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but Tony wants to get everybody on the card. And this is his way of paying it forward, I guess. Against Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Alex Reynolds, and John Silver of the Dark Order, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy of Private Party, Arya Davari, and Anthony Ogogo. I mean, if you guys want me to go over this match, you're out of your fucking mind, man. Rush and his team win in about 12 minutes. This was basically to get the festivities started. Literally, none of these people have anything to do with each other. It was just a random mess thrown on the 0 Hour pre-show to get everybody involved. Nothing more. Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. The winner of this match picks the stipulation for Willow versus Statlander for the CMLL Women's Championship at All Out. So Willow and Statlander will wrestle at All Out. I like that this match had a direct effect on what's happening in 2 weeks in Chicago. Willow and Statlander wrestled the first half of this match. Ishii beat up Hathaway. Hathaway got in some offense, and then obviously we seen some Stat go after Ishii, which was pretty entertaining. Ishii no-sold Hathaway's spinebuster and eventually landed a powerbomb. Statlander broke up the cover. Ishii gave Hathaway a sliding lariat for the 1-2-3, and Willow will choose the stipulation going into Chicago for their CMLL Women's Championship match at All Out. Willow and Ishii win this match on the 0 Hour pre-show. Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes, along with Katsuyori Shibata, Ross Von Erich, and Marshall Von Erich against Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Brian Cage, Toa Leona, and Bishop Khan. Another huge multi-man match just to get everybody involved on the show. Guevara, Dustin, Shibata, and the Von Erichs win in about 11 minutes. Again, none of these people have anything to do with each other, and it was just a jumbled mess to get everybody involved on the show. Then the most important thing happened on the 0 Hour pre-show, and we got Saraya, who came out with a number of her family members, and she was not involved on the show in any sense of the word. She did not get a match. She did not have a feud coming into this thing. So Saraya came to the stage with Harley Cameron and the entire Knight family. Harley Cameron screamed at the crowd and said that Saraya is pissed and the show cannot go on until she gets the proper respect she deserves. Saraya went on to say she's the Queen of England and the crowd will respect her. She won the AEW Women's Championship last year, and at this All In, she's not even booked for the show. She's the best wrestler to come out of England, and this show will not go on until she gets the respect she deserves. Jamie Hayter's music hits, and she gets a massive reaction for the people that were in attendance there at Wembley Stadium She took down most of the Knight family on her way to the ring as they tried to stop her from walking down the huge entrance ramp. Hayter threw Harley Cameron aside and got in the ring before Saraya attacked, and her mother joined in on the attack as well. So her mother was given a stiff shot. She knocked her down, and they start brawling, do Saraya and Jamie Hayter. Saraya bailed, leaving Harley Cameron to suffer Jamie's Haterade, as Hayter stood tall after being out of action for almost a year and a half. Man, did that division miss her, man. She looks great. She looked in phenomenal shape. It looks like she trimmed down, and she's ready to do business again in the AEW women's division. This was the first negative. I don't want to start the show off negative, but I got to be honest at the same time. This was the first negative for the night in regards to All In for AEW. I get that everybody is excited to see Jamie Hayter. I get that everybody wants to see Jamie Hayter back in a prominent role. But introducing Jamie Hayter after a year and a half on the fucking 0-hour pre-show is a complete fucking fail. Was All In the right place to do it? Sure. Great. I'm glad that they factored her into the show. But I don't know why this couldn't take place on the actual main card, and then you maybe build to a little mini feud or a match to take place potentially at Grand Slam in New York City, or at All Out for all that matter. Why did this have to take place on the 0-hour pre-show? Do you want to know why I had a problem with this taking place on the 0-hour pre-show? Because I knew right there at the 12:30 time slot, Eastern time, that nobody was going to be talking about this after the show was over. Look at the show that we got. Who's talking about the return of Jamie Hayter? Nobody. Moments like this should be special. It's all about the moment. If you didn't factor this into the main show, what are we doing? Jamie Hayter doesn't deserve main star treatment. She was the fucking women's champion. She organically, genuinely got over. And you want to put her in a fucking nothing feud with Saraya? Well, because Saraya needs to be involved in the show, yeah, let's put them on the 0-hour pre-show. There's one thing that Tony Khan doesn't do right. It's time management, which I will talk about at the top of the show here. Time management is a problem for AEW. If they had better time management, then this would have been included on the main card in a nice slot so that she could be amongst everything else that happened tonight and not on the fucking 0-hour pre-show. I hate when a moment is just thrown away. Might not be a big deal to you, but the woman's been gone for a year and a half. She's a former AEW women's champion. If we need to take women's wrestling seriously in AEW, if you want to build up the women's division within AEW, Jamie Hayter's got to be a part of that. It also kind of makes the rumor going around potentially true, because Jamie Hayter coming back should have been right in the middle of that Mercedes and Britt Baker match that desperately needed some kind of heat. There was a rumor going around that Britt and Jamie Hayter do not like each other. The fact that Jamie Hayter is not back and working alongside Britt Baker could potentially lead to that being true, which that would be a shame, because that was the right and most perfect opportunity to bring this woman back. And she would have helped aid both Mercedes and Britt in a match that fell flat in the time slot that they were given. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a little bit more old school. Moments should be special. Not just thrown out on the fucking pre-show because, hey, man, we got nothing else better to do. That's just me. I thought she deserved better. And I will say this. If you guys are excited about Jamie Hayter, great. I'm excited to see her back, too. But if they are already misfiring with her return, do you genuinely feel like Tony Khan and AEW are going to book her return any better than what they did tonight? It almost comes off as if it's an inconvenience and they're not going to really treat her special at all. During the 0-hour pre-show, the last 10 minutes were given to everybody getting their entrance for the opening match. So we saw all of the participants in the London ladder match for the AEW Trios Championship get their entrances on the pre-show. This goes to what I mentioned before, that AEW's got terrible time management. Because even with these entrances taking place on the 0-hour pre-show, it looked like they were still strapped for time during the main show. Why is time management such a terrible thing in this company? Triple H even suffers with fucking time management on Monday. I can't tell you how it pisses me the fuck off when I watch Monday Night Raw and the show abruptly goes off the fucking air and there's no cliffhanger going into next week. Nothing's allowed to breathe. He's not perfect with it either. But I see it happening more so on the AEW side than I see it happening on the WWE side. All these teams got their entrances during the pre-show, and you still had trouble fitting everything else on the main show. Why? I also didn't like that because the way the show bled from the pre-show into the main show, it's almost as if they were just starting Dynamite. I didn't get the feel that we were watching a major show. There was no video package. There was no introduction. There was no hype package in the beginning of the show. We went from the entrances on the 0-hour pre-show to Excalibur saying, "It's Sunday. You know what time it is. You know what that means." Bro, I'm not watching fucking Dynamite. I'm watching the flagship pay-per-view that this company is labeling their WrestleMania. Make it feel that way. The way that they went from the 0-hour pre-show with all the intros and introductions for everybody in this ladder match to starting the show with the bell ringing immediately, there was nothing in between to give off the signature that this is the biggest show of the year. You might not find that to be a big deal. You, as a fan, might not find that to be a big deal. To me, that's a big fucking deal. Can you imagine WWE starting WrestleMania off this way? I know I can't. It's the little things that matter. I would never start anything off that low budget. If I started my stream off just coming in with the fucking title belt coming on the screen and then, "Hey guys, welcome to Off the Script. We're going to get into AEW All In." If I didn't give you the Mustang, if I didn't drive in with the window down on YouTube, giving you guys the fucking intro, the music to get you hyped, the fucking front of the venue, whether it's the venue or the beer garden, getting you guys anticipated to start the show, to watch the show. If I just went about it half-assed and I admitted all that live, sounds pretty fucking boring, doesn't it? I don't get it. If you guys want to go watch that shit, there are a bunch of creators that do that shit. They got no fucking intro, and they go right into the fucking stream, and they're in and out in 50 minutes. It's not the way we do things here. Just a little criticism. Just a little criticism. This is your biggest show of the year. You want to look like WrestleMania? You want to feel like WrestleMania? You want to hype it up like your WrestleMania? Then show it. Instead of acting Bush League. This is not some minor league fucking production, bro. This is AEW All In front of 55,000 fucking people at Wembley Stadium. And that's the way you start the show? I don't know, man. I'm sure I'll get some fucking geek on social media clipping that saying I hated the show. Again, a minor criticism. The venue looked great. The venue looked great. I thought this year's setup was so much better. I think Taylor Swift and the concert tour that she did over there at Wembley Stadium, I think that was still set up. But whatever AEW did to work around that or maybe incorporate that into their own setup, I thought looked great. I thought this looked better than last year's. Seriously. I thought this looked tremendous this year. They knocked it out of the park with the stage setup, with the aerial shots of the crowd. We got some aerial drone shots during some of the entrances, just overseeing the ringside area. Everything they did was perfect aesthetically. Really love the environment that they created for All In. Pac, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta. They are, I guess, representing the Blackpool Combat Club against the Patriarchy. This is Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne. Bang Bang Gang, Juice, Austin, and Colton Gunn, and the House of Black, Malachi, Brody, and Buddy Matthews. This is a London ladder match for the AEW Trios Championships. There's a lot of great tag teams in this match. AEW seems to focus on one over the other, or they don't focus enough on either. But I genuinely do feel at one point, AEW had the recipe for having a great tag team and a great trios division. Now, 5 years later, or whenever they were created, 3 years ago, I don't know. How long has the Trios Championship been around? I feel like the Trios Championship are an albatross on the overall health of the tag team division. I genuinely feel the Trios Championships are making the tag team titles virtually unrecognizable and irrelevant. If we can't get on the same page and start producing trios matches and tag team matches where one division doesn't take precedent over the other, honestly, I feel like the Trios Championship should be deleted and we should focus on tag team. You can have trios matches, but why are we so heavily focusing on trios matches and not enough on traditional 2-on-2 tag team wrestling? It also helps when your champions defend the fucking titles and don't go away for 4 months with not one single title defense. I'm looking at Matt and Nick Jackson. I don't give a shit who they are. You're holding championships, you should be on TV defending them. This was a fun open. This was a car crash match that got people excited to start the show. That's all that it was intended to be. Plus, everybody was looking for Pac to maybe get his Wembley moment. He was included in this match, included on the show. They won a match against Top Flight, I believe, on AEW Collision, and they were in this match. Bell sounded. Pay-per-view went on the air. Immediately, everybody made their intros during the pre-show. And like I said, this was a car crash in typical ladder match form. We're not going to go through this entire thing, but everything that you would expect out of a ladder match was here. So we pick it up here. Cage ran away immediately when the match started. He eventually came back out from the back and saw an opportunity to climb up the ladder when everybody else was down, and he wanted to try and win the match by doing as least as humanly possible. So he tried to climb, and he was launched over the top by Claudio and Brody King, but he was caught by everyone not a part of his own Patriarchy. And then he was beat down pretty badly. Mother Wayne set up a ladder and then tried to climb herself because she is recognized as a part of the Trios Championships. She tried to climb. The Guns got her to back off. Their attention was then turned to Killswitch. He appeared and laid out everyone in his path with choke slams, including one on Buddy Matthews on the apron and Malachi Black onto a ladder. Killswitch and Brody King had a stare down. Nick Wayne flew in with Wayne's World on Brody through a table. So Killswitch went up to climb for the belts. Christian stopped him, wanting to do it himself. Because God forbid he does something right. Christian wanted to do it himself. Yuta and Juice shoved the ladder down, but the House of Black took control with a big attack in the corner on Yuta. So Brody was dropped with the Guns finish, 310 to Yuta. 310 to Yuma, but Claudio avoided one with a flying uppercut. Juice suffered a giant swing and then a drop kick from Yuta in the middle of the giant swing, and then a black arrow from Pac before hitting dives with Yuta onto Black and Buddy Matthews. So Brody and Claudio then slugged it out on top of a ladder. The Guns cut them off with chair shots. 3 tables brought into the ring as Brody and Claudio climbed the ladder with the Guns strapped to their back. Ultimately, they both fell, and the Guns and both men went through the tables. So we pick it up. Matthews and Wayne. Nick Wayne hits another Wayne's World, but ate a ladder right to the face by Malachi. Wayne sent Black to the floor after hitting a running destroyer from the ring to the outside through a table that was set up. Juice threw in a massive ladder, but as he climbed, Christian Cage pushed the ladder over, and he landed on the top rope so flush, crushing his nuts, that he is no longer going to be rock hard ever again. Him and Toni are going to have some problems, for sure. Toni Storm, that is. So that looked brutal. So Juice took a devastating shot to the balls as Christian shoved the ladder. Pac tried to springboard, but Cage chucked the ladder in his face and hit a brutal kill switch on top of a chair that was set up in the middle of the ring. Mother Wayne tossed Christian some sort of spray. They kept saying it was her hairspray, and he misted Yuta off the ladder with this spray before hitting multiple chair shots to Yuta in the back. So Juice all of a sudden gets back in there. I don't know how. I guess he is genuinely rock hard, I guess. Juice hit a low blow on Cage, blocked the spray from Mother Wayne, and misted her instead. Robinson teased putting her through a table, but Killswitch appeared, hit a running boot, and Robinson went crashing through a table. It did not break, though, but the sound of Juice hitting the table sounded nasty. Killswitch helped Cage up the ladder, but Matthews put a stop to that, throwing a ladder in his face. Buddy then climbed a shorter ladder as Cage leapt from one to another, putting Matthews through a table with a spear. Killswitch put Cage on his shoulders and climbed up the ladder. Pac comes out of nowhere and makes the save, booting Cage down, and grabbed one of the titles to win the Trios Championships for him, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta. And the Blackpool Combat Club, alongside Pac, are the new Trios champions. It's great to see Pac get his Wembley moment. They found him onto the show, they got him into the show, and they booked him to win a championship in the opening match at Wembley Stadium because he was supposed to be the #1 contender for the AEW International Championship. They gave that to Will Ospreay because MJF and Will Ospreay was obviously the bigger match for this particular show. So now Pac is the Trios champion, and he's already called out the winner of MJF and Will Ospreay for the International Championship at All Out. So not only did he get his Wembley moment, but he's getting a Chicago moment as well, because as 1/3 of the Trios champions, Pac is now going into Chicago All Out weekend, and he will be wrestling Will Ospreay for the International Championship. Banger incoming. So good for him. There's nobody more deserving than Pac. Nobody. What this also means is Pac winning a championship just kind of makes you theorize what exactly was supposed to happen. Because the Lucha Brothers, both Penta and Rey Fenix, were supposed to be included in this match. It was supposed to be Penta and Phoenix alongside Pac competing for the Trios Championships. So Pac won the Trios Championships alongside, obviously, not Penta and Rey Fenix. So it makes me wonder, were Penta and Rey Fenix supposed to win the Trios Championships if they opted to stay with the company? Now, the rumor is that they'll be in Orlando and that they will be headed to WWE when the time is right. Penta is coming up on free agency, and Phoenix is coming up on free agency. Both September and this current month, August, both of them will be finished with AEW. Supposedly. That's the rumor. So, were they supposed to win the Trios Championships, being that Pac won it with Claudio and Yuta instead? I don't know. But regardless, I'm glad Pac got his moment. His Wembley moment. It's all about moments. So, they fucked up on the Jamie Hayter moment, but they got it right with the Pac moment. Now, Christian Cage, if you guys are not aware, Christian Cage, he won the Trios Championships alongside the Patriarchy, and he said that he is going to be on this odyssey to win all of the major singles championships in AEW, and that is including the AEW World Championship. He's going to find his way back to the AEW World Championship. He said this while holding the Trios Championships. I want you guys to keep that in the back of your mind. Christian Cage is no longer the Trios champion, so what's going to happen in regards to that promise he made on Collision several weeks ago? Just keep that in the back of your mind. I thought this was a fun match to open the show. Nothing overly spectacular, nothing that you haven't seen before. I am so desensitized to ladder matches nowadays, man. I feel like we see an overabundance of ladder matches in pro wrestling, not only with WWE, not only with AEW, but everywhere. I think we need to scale back on the ladder match and start making the ladder match special again. Because I feel like every time we see a ladder match, there really isn't anything that you could do to do anything innovative. I mean, we've seen it all. We've seen it. The first ever ladder match that I saw was Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 10. Now, that wasn't the first ladder match. There was a ladder match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart on a Coliseum video in 1992 that I don't really know how many people watched that. I mean, it wasn't Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon level at WrestleMania 10 at Madison Square Garden, but that was the first ladder match that I've ever seen personally as a pro wrestling fan. And you thought what they did in that match at the time was innovative. Imagine what people do now. We've seen everything. We've seen every shape and size in a fucking ladder match. We've seen everything done in a ladder match, off a ladder, through a ladder. There's nothing else to be done. Let's scale them back. Seriously. Mariah May. She is the #1 contender for the AEW Women's Championship against timeless Toni Storm. She's out there with Luther, is Toni Storm. Mariah May, she's out there after turning her back on Toni Storm after winning the Owen Hart Cup Invitational in one of the most savage beatdowns in AEW history, one of the greatest endings to AEW Dynamite of all time. Was that ending? Excellent. It really took the feud to the next level. Now, they kind of fizzled out after that. I thought what they did was perfect. It needed to happen then to get this match here. But after that, it kind of fizzled out. A couple of pull-apart brawls. There was a couple of vignettes, one by Toni and a couple by Mariah. Nothing too crazy in the build on TV between these two. They were basically out of gas in the last 3 or 4 weeks. But this made up for everything. Because this match was tremendous. This was the best that we've seen Mariah look. This was the best we've seen Toni Storm look in ring under this current gimmick. You got a mixture of Toni in character, and you got rock and roller Toni Storm in this match. From what you remember, for what she does in the ring. This was a perfect mixture of both versions of Toni Storm. This was the best in-ring version of Toni we've seen under this current gimmick in this title reign. This was tremendous. 9 months in the making, and this was exactly how it needed to be. The outcome was exactly what it needed to be. May's mother was sitting at ringside, and I think commentary said this was the second time that she's only seen her daughter wrestle since she started wrestling. So she's in there watching her daughter in the biggest show in company history. So Toni eventually makes her way out to the ring, and Storm's entrance consisted of a picture of her at Wembley Stadium in 1924 before Luther made his return to the stage. And the bell rings. We get our introductions. We get a stare down. And both ladies, this is the way the match needed to start off, man. I'm so glad that they went into this brawling it out, man. This was a fucking dugout, clearing dugout type of brawl in the MLB, man. This is exactly what it needed to be. Both ladies throwing fists like a fucking hockey fight. Boom. They started off brawling. I didn't want to see this shit start off with a fucking collar and elbow tie-up, which then led to a fucking side headlock takedown and then a fucking rest hold for 60 seconds. No. That's not what it needed to be. They did exactly what they needed to do here to start the match. So we got a big fight, and Mariah May hits a shotgun drop kick on Toni to swing the match in her direction. They showed Mina Shirakawa up in the skybox watching this from the crowd. Toni Storm started no-selling chops that led to a chop battle between both ladies. Storm faked a high knee and hit a DDT, but May avoided a hip attack in the ropes and connected with the powerbomb out to the floor. All of a sudden, Luther's getting involved, and Mariah May turns around and spits right in Luther's face. Mariah does the Mariah go-round, spinning side slam, and that kept her in control. We get a head scissors out of the corner as May slaps Storm, bringing her to her knees. So we got May laying out Toni, and this was very similar to what we got in Calgary when she won the Owen Hart final. She was on her knees, and she planted a kiss right on Toni's forehead. But Toni gets up, gets a second win. She starts to fight back, and then she was eventually taken out by Mariah May with a big back suplex. Storm rolled to the outside. May hits a running, leaping knee off the apron, and she's just brutalizing Toni on the outside. May walked over and all of a sudden planted a kiss on the forehead of Nigel McGuinness, who he was in heaven at that point. And then she goes to shotgun dropkick Luther and blasts him into the barricade. So she is absolutely possessed here. Goes to kiss Nigel, and then she dropkicks Luther, who had no business getting dropkicked, but she doesn't give a shit. She then walked over to her mother, did Mariah May. And this shocked the shit out of me, man. She slapped the fucking taste out of her mother's mouth, man. Slapped the shit out of her mother. And Toni Storm flies in with a hip attack through the ropes and a Storm Zero that followed on the steel steps, which eventually busted Mariah May open. And she started bleeding. If there was one match on this night that needed color, it was this match. Toni Storm walks over to Mariah's mother and she consoles her into her bosom. Mariah May's bleeding. Storm unloaded 10 punches back inside the ring. Multiple punches from Toni. Mariah May was sent flying. Storm went for a big roundhouse shot, only for Mariah May to spit in her face. She spit in Luther's face. She spit in Toni Storm's face. No respect from Mariah. Toni Storm hits a choke bomb for a 2 count. Mariah May fights back. Big corner high kick. Missile drop kick from the top. Multiple sweet chic musics from Toni. From Mariah, rather. She was using Toni's own move against her. She went for 3 sweet chic musics, did Mariah. She went for a 4th. But Toni popped up and no-sold the 3 and popped up with a huge lariat and a German suplex, and then she went right into a sweet chic music of her own, followed up by a quick Storm Zero, which Mariah May kicked out of. So Mariah May, after the Storm Zero, is in trouble. She looks up at Toni. She gives Toni Storm the middle finger. They start slapping each other repeatedly, and both ladies were legitimately slapping the shit out of each other, man. Real stuff. Aubrey Edwards tried to step in, but got shoved away by both ladies, who then hit low blows on each other before hitting multiple headbutts at the same time for a double down, and the crowd comes to their feet with a rousing applause. Mariah May gets up. She dodged the Storm Zero. She hits Mayday. Toni kicks out. Mariah May tried to grab the women's title, but Luther on the outside. Remember, he got blasted by a drop kick on the outside, and he went right into the barricade. He pops up from the dead, and he grabs the title with his hand and takes it off the ring apron so that Mariah doesn't get it, and he gave her his own middle finger. May opted to grab a shoe that she had brought to the ring, the same bloody shoe that she beat Toni Storm with in Calgary at the end of the Owen final. But Toni Storm put a stop to that. May then starts begging Toni Storm off, apologizing, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Toni takes the shoe, and she looks at Mariah. Revenge is coming. Until Toni can't do it. Toni can't bring herself to do it. May got a jackknife pin attempt off of this hesitation. She only got a 2 count, popped up, hit a running knee to the neck, kissed Toni Storm on the forehead, delivered with Toni's own Storm Zero. And Toni Storm loses to Mariah May from her own finishing move. And Mariah May is the new AEW Women's Champion. Mariah May celebrated up the ramp with the title. Toni Storm got to her feet, and she was in this weird bliss, was Toni Storm. She was crying at the same time, laughing and smiling, going back to crying and then waving to the fans and kissing people's hands and thanking everybody. It was this weird, multiple emotion type deal from Toni Storm. You didn't know what she was, happy, sad, depressed, upset. You didn't know. So it's going to be interesting to see where Toni Storm goes from this point on with the character. I've seen some people tell me this is not exactly how All About Eve ends. I don't know how All About Eve ends because I've never seen it. But I don't know where this goes. Jason, the Silent Monster, and I talked about this on Tuesday Night Titans when we did our predictions. He thinks that we're getting a second match. We could very well get that. But we got a clean ending here. Now, Mariah May, does she wrestle Toni Storm in 2 weeks at All Out? I don't know. We'll see what the follow-up is on AEW Dynamite. Maybe something happens on Dynamite in the next 2 weeks that leads us to a match in Chicago for a second time. I don't know. It's too early to tell, so I'm going to reserve judgment on that. But just based on what we got here, it doesn't really look like we're getting a second match. Again, we very well could. But just coming out of this, I don't really get a sense that we're getting a second match because Toni lost clean and she put Mariah over, which was the right outcome. 9 months of storytelling. 9 months of emotion. Again, I said this multiple times already on this stream. If there's one thing that AEW takes from this show and should continue to do and use as a foundation and use as a blueprint for what they do every single time they have a major feud, it is this. Now, not everything's going to end up being Toni Storm and Mariah May. Not everything's going to end up being as emotional as Bryan Danielson winning the World Championship from Swerve Strickland in the main event of All In. But the reason why this match was as good as it was, and it probably would have been a good match with a mediocre story, but it was a better match with a great story. It was a better match because we were emotionally invested in what happened. We were emotionally invested in the attack by Mariah on Toni and looking to emotionally invest ourselves in Toni getting revenge only for her to fall short and lose the championship. Why was this match so great? Story. Story is everything. I don't give a shit what you do from this point on. I'm not expecting every story to be a fucking banger story. But if you could take just a little bit of emotion that you put into this story and apply it to multiple stories, I can't even begin to tell you how much better AEW television will be on a week-to-week basis. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. This was the perfect story. This was the perfect setting. This was the perfect finale and the right outcome. Everything about this was poetic and beautiful. Mariah May wins the Women's Championship, and I can only hope that the follow-up to what Mariah May now does with the Women's Championship is just as good and follows the same blueprint as what we got with Toni Storm. This does not give AEW the excuse to say, all right, well, we got 10 months of story out of this. Now let's take a vacation. No. If you aren't already planning what Mariah is doing for her next feature film, I don't know why you're in the fucking business. Hopefully they have a plan. Hopefully. Hook. He went one-on-one with Chris Jericho. Big Bill and Brian Keith were out there. FTW Championship, FTW rules. This was basically a handicap match through most of the match. I did not care at all. Speaking of emotion, I did not care about this whatsoever. Did not give a shit through weeks of television with the learning tree. And I did not give a shit about Hook getting his revenge on Chris Jericho. I don't, and neither do you. Chris Jericho was played to the ring by Fozzy. Always great to see my guy Rich Ward. Love Rich Ward. Formerly the guitarist of one of my favorite bands, Stuck Mojo. Fozzy played Jericho to the ring. Jericho was basically singing his own theme music, which is always great. It's like an all-in staple. He did it last year. He played Judas. This year he played his new theme song, which is off their new album, which I don't really know or listen to. Hook came out, and the match started. And again, if you didn't give a shit about the story coming in, you probably didn't give a shit about the winner coming out. So Taz is on commentary, and obviously we know Taz is Hook's father. Hook was attacked immediately by Big Bill and Brian Keith. Jericho hit a code breaker for a near fall. Hook fought back by hitting a T-bone on Keith, low bridging Bill to the floor. Jericho hit a low blow and went under the ring for a bag, and in the bag were a bunch of cricket balls. Well, in this country, they're pool balls, cricket balls. They're a lot bigger. He pulled out some pool cues as well. and he pulled out a cricket bat at one point. Jericho dumped the bag, and the balls fell out of the bag. So some of them started rolling and scattering about. I don't know what he intended to do here, but they scattered so far apart when Hook was supposed to hit a back suplex on the cricket balls. He did not. He just hit a back suplex, and he missed all of them. Hook grabbed the cricket bat and smacked Jericho in the back with it, and then he tried to hit the cricket balls at Jericho, and he couldn't connect. And on the back of the cricket bat, it said, "Hi, guys." I guess Jericho is a cricket player. I don't know. Maybe he plays cricket in his own time. Keith smacked Hook with a trash can lid. This allowed Jericho to lock on the walls of Jericho. Hook escaped and locked in the walls of Jericho of his own. Big Bill, who was mega over in the United Kingdom. I don't really know what it is with everybody over there in Big Bill. I watched Collision last night, believe it or not. And Big Bill wrestled... Who did he wrestle last night? I don't even know who he wrestled. He wrestled somebody. And it might have been Arya Davari. I don't fucking know who he wrestled. But he was mega over on AEW. I mean, they were fucking singing along to Big Bill. I mean, you would think Big Bill is the reincarnation of fucking Kevin Nash in his prime. They were putting this guy over. I don't know what it is, but I love Big Bill, man. I think Big Bill is a promising guy. I really do. I think he's being held down by this fucking shit gimmick of the learning tree. But he was over. So he's there. He tried to chokeslam Hook. Hook escaped. And, oh, he wrestled Hook. That's right. He wrestled Hook last night on Collision. I'm sorry. Yeah, he wrestled Hook. Yeah, he took the loss. So Hook is in a chokeslam. Hook escaped. He posted Bill into the steel post and hit a low blow on Brian Keith. Jericho raked the good eye of Hook and hit a trash can shot. Hook dodged a Judas effect, and he hit a T-bone suplex. Hook then ripped off the eye patch, which was covering the bad eye, which, if you guys don't remember, in this feud, Jericho was his very Wizarding World of Harry Potter self, and he blew a fireball in Hook's face. So he took off that bandage and told everybody he could see fine. Don't know why he didn't do that to begin with when the match started, but who the fuck am I, man? I'm not booking this shit. Anyway, another T-bone from Hook, but Big Bill grabbed a hold of him on the apron. Jericho took one of the pool cues. Hook dodged it. Big Bill took a shot, and that put him through a barbed wire table that was set up on the outside, and he went right through the table. He's out of commission. He never showed face in the match again. Brian Keith went and ran distraction, and Taz jumped off the commentary table and said, "This is bullshit. These are my rules, but I'm going to have to fucking rewrite my own rules here." Takes the headset off on commentary, and he jumps into the action here. He sees Brian Keith on the apron. Taz pulls Brian Keith off the apron and gives Brian Keith a Taz mission. And Hook gives Chris Jericho a Taz mission. We got father and son doing dueling Taz missions here as Jericho taps out to Hook, and Hook wins the FTW Championship, gets the title back, brings it back into the family, and that was basically it. The feud is mercifully over. It is over. Where do we go from here? I don't know, but I think Chris Jericho needs to learn a different magic act and make himself fucking disappear for a few months. I think that would be the best thing to do here. Burn the learning tree down, put on an invisibility cloak, and become like Harry Potter and just say goodbye for a couple of months. The FTW Championship, I don't know, man. It's a title that's not recognized in AEW. I don't know what we're doing parading around with fucking FTW titles when we got so many other titles that don't mean anything in this company. Can we have Hook retire the FTW title and put it away once and for all? Give it back to his father. Have Taz put it in the fucking garage and put it into storage, man. Hook beats Chris Jericho. What Hook should really be doing right now is moving on to bigger and better things. Whether that is Jack Perry in the TNT title, whether that's the whatever. The international title, whatever. Jack Perry should be going after, you know, guys like Hook, or I should say the other way around. Jack Perry should be defending against guys like Hook. He should be going after the TNT title. Why not? Maybe we build a feud coming out of that. But the title, the FTW title, needs to go away. We don't need to see it defended. We don't need to see it fought over anymore. It means nothing. It's not a recognized title. Jericho held it hostage, and now he's got it back, does Hook. Now he can properly retire it the way it deserves to be retired. Goodbye. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. They defend the tag team championships against the Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, with Daddy Ass against FTR, Dax Softwood, and Cash Wheeler. AEW Tag Team Championships. I love FTR. Believe it or not, I do. Greatest tag team, best tag team in the world. Bell to bell, best tag team in the world. Again, I had no emotional investment in this match. It is very difficult to care about the tag team division when said tag team division has champions that haven't defended their belts in 4 months. The last time the belts were defended was when FTR and the Young Bucks wrestled at AEW Dynasty. That was it. It's tough to get invested in the division and said champions when the belts don't really mean much of anything. It is the performer that makes the belt. It's not the belt that makes the performer. It's always been that way. The Young Bucks have done nothing to enhance the AEW tag team titles. Zero. So why do they have them? Oh, but JD, they're trying to build this angle where the Elite has all the championships. No, they're not. The angle and story is non-existent. It's dead. It died when Tony Khan came back to television and handed Darby Allin a fucking flamethrower before the Anarchy in the Arena match. It's over. The Young Bucks are not a believable threat. They're not a credible threat to the overall business. On air. Per story. To Tony Khan and AEW. Are they a threat to the fucking ratings? Sure. I don't think people want to see them at all. I don't think people can stand them, honestly. I don't think people want to see them at all. I think they're doing more harm than good to the fucking AEW product, to be quite honest with you. But there's no heat in this. I don't give a shit if FTR and the Acclaim went 60 minutes on fucking Collision. You can break your body all you want. Great. I love pro wrestling, just like the next guy. I love a great pro wrestling match. Don't get me wrong. But if you think there's a story going into this thing and coming out of it, you got another thing fucking coming. What's the story? This was simply a match to get these three teams, the only three teams right now in the entire fucking division, on the show, and another excuse to get FTR in the ring with the Young Bucks so the Young Bucks could beat them again. That's all this was. And the Acclaimed, by the way, beat the Young Bucks in a eliminator match, which they should have been the number one contenders for the World Championships, not FTR. But here we are. The match was fine. Will this be remembered by the end of the night? No. No, it will not. And the tag team division is still sorely lacking compared to what it used to be. Maybe we'll be on our way to fixing that with who showed up at the end of this match. I don't think that it will be, but it's certainly a step in the right direction to get some credible fucking teams in the AEW tag team division. The Bucks were dressed as the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and they had a video to go along with it for their entrance. The Acclaimed came out, and they did their thing. They had a Scissor Me Daddy chant, very soccer style-esque Scissor Me Daddy chant, which I hope that they keep for their entrance, man. I think it gets the crowd hyped. And then FTR just made a generic FTR bald and FTR hair way down to the ring. Nothing special. They had Bret Hart colors on. Color me shocked on that one. Yes, I know. Back in 1992, the British Bulldog won the Intercontinental Championship at Wembley Stadium from Bret the Hitman Hart. Great. Love me some Bret Hart, but I get it. So we got a quick start here from Caster and Harwood. Bucks tried to get involved. They were taken out pretty quickly. Blind tag put the Bucks in control. Slice bread into a punt kick on Cash Wheeler. Neck breaker, back breaker combo from the Bucks. Wheeler was grounded. And then he eventually came back and laid out Matt with a big pop-up power slam. Harwood down at the time. Nicholas cut him off. Wheeler crawled back into the Acclaim's corner where Bowens made the tag. He got a big double scissor me timbers on both Matt and Nick Jackson. Blind tag by Harwood as the Acclaim scissored. He got laid out, or they got laid out rather, with suplexes for their scissoring. So we got a tag by Matthew, who suffered more German suplexes. 2-on-1 on both Bucks for a near fall. Matt tried fighting out of the corner, so Bowens and Harwood hit double superplex. Wheeler leapt to finish with the powerplex spot, but Matt got the knees up. Caster missed a mic drop, and Nicholas missed the swanton. This left everyone down in the match. Nicholas gets back up. He ran wild, but as he was about to hit a TK driver, Wheeler launched himself off the top, but Nicholas hits a moonsault instead onto the Acclaimed. Matthew was dropped with a shatter machine, which looked fucking devastating. Nicholas pulled the referee out before the count was actually administered. Dowdy Ass puts on a chase, starts chasing Nicholas. He ate a super kick from Matthew where they lured him in, and boom, super kick to Dowdy Ass. Nicholas is down on the outside. Matthew X-casted to help with the EVP trigger, but eventually helped Wheeler take out Matt with a shatter machine. Bowens flew in with a blockbuster on Wheeler to break up the pin as the Acclaim went for their double team finish. But Matthew took the ref, which allowed Nicholas to hit a low blow. I mean, I don't know why we're disguising shit in this match. Aren't there no rules? It's a triple threat match. Aren't triple threat matches no rules? What are we taking the referee for and trying to cheat behind the referee's back? There's no rules. The Bucks then pumped up their shoes and delivered super kick parties all around. Nicholas threw in a title, and Rick Knox took one of the titles, and he walked over to the other side of the ring, which left the other title, because there are two tag team titles. I don't know why Rick Knox is the dumbest fucking referee in all of AEW. Either that or he does it on purpose. So with one title, he takes one title and he starts telling somebody to go do something with it. He's pointing fingers. He's just taking comically way too long with his back turned here. So Matthew took the other title, but Daddy S cut him off with a famouser. Arrival by Bowens. Mic drop by Caster, which is their finish. Nicholas broke up the pin. Wheeler took out the Acclaimed outside with a big dive. If you want to give Cash Wheeler consideration for the best suicide dive in the business, I won't blame you. Fucking tremendous. So with that big wild dive on the outside, Harwood is left alone with the Bucks. Matthew was rolled up. Harwood shoved into a belt shot. Harwood kicks out. Bucks bring him up. EVP trigger. 1, 2, 3. And FTR once again lose to the Young Bucks. Like Jesse says every Wednesday, FTR was only brought into the company to lose to the Young Bucks. And if you think that FTR is being treated and mistreated poorly, creatively, you are not wrong. And if you were to tell me that Tony, who knew FTR, befriended CM Punk and probably still to this day talk to CM Punk, if you think Tony is punishing FTR by still being friends with the guy who basically tried to tear the company down, if you think they are being punished by Tony Khan and it's some sort of conspiracy theory, I would not blame you. I would not blame you. FTR is as low as they have ever been in AEW. Is there still hope for them? Probably. They're too good to be held down for this long. But the more they lose credibility. And the more Dax goes on social media and wants to be a raging fucking bitch because people can't criticize the tag team division in AEW, fans are not going to really want to see much of FTR. Honestly. And this match was just there. I love tag team wrestling. I love tag team wrestling that matters. I love tag team wrestling when there's a story involved. I love tag team wrestling when there's emotion involved. I didn't get no feeling. I didn't get no emotion. I got no heat. There's no emotional investment on me. There's no story here. So what exactly are we looking at? 3 very good teams in their own right, wrestling for the tag team championships in a division that is sorely lacking the attention that it deserves. Fix it. Why do I need to call out their fucking problems and they don't notice what's going on right before their very eyes, right underneath their nose? Why do I need to come on here and tell you your tag team division is fucking terrible? If you think the tag team division in AEW is where it needs to be, God bless you, man. I don't know what the fuck you're looking at. You think this is the same division that was in year 1 and year 2? You think that they're handling the tag team division like they are in year 1 and year 2? This shit is a shell of what it used to be. I'm not the only one that thinks that way. And before anybody takes me out of context and thinks I'm just picking on AEW for the sake of it, I say the same thing every single fucking week about WWE. I've been saying this since 2016. They got no division over there either. Doesn't matter if the Lucha Brothers come in. Doesn't matter if fucking Motor City Machine Guns come in. It's still a fucking problem. They got 2 divisions. AEW's got 1, but it's the same thing. They got 2 sets of tag team titles and 1 division, and WWE's got 2 divisions and 2 sets of tag team titles. Something is going on. Something's wrong. Fix it. Either integrate the trios in the tag team title division a little bit more creatively, or get rid of the fucking trios titles and focus on the tag team titles. Ridiculous. After the match was over, James Drake and Zach Gibson, the grizzled young veterans, showed up. They got in the ring, and I expected them to get a bigger reaction, being that they are from here. If you didn't know who they were, they got no reaction. Who the fuck are these guys? I knew who they were. You know who they were. They appeared and got in the ring, and they stared down the Bucks, who bailed, and the grizzled young veterans attacked FTR instead. They hit high-low on Wheeler before again staring down the Bucks, saying that they would see them soon. Great. Grizzled young veterans are one of the best tag teams in the fucking world. Highly underrated. Are they going to fix the tag team division? No, they're not. No, they're not. But maybe it's a step in the right direction. A match against FTR? Give me a fucking story. Give me a reason to care. That sounds like an old school AEW tag team match that I would invest in. This Young Buck story is bringing everything around it down. Awful. Fucking awful. What is the end goal? I ask this every week. What is the fucking goal of this storyline? Are they tearing AEW down from within? The fucking story. What are we doing? They hold all the gold. All right. They hold all the championships. They hold the Continental, the TNT, the tag team titles. Great. Paige wants the world title. If he's still even associated with them. Where are we going with this? I don't know where we're going. If you give me a reason to fucking care and an end goal as to where this story is going, maybe I'll fucking care about your champions. Right now, nobody cares. One of the biggest and highly anticipated matches of the entire night is the Casino Gauntlet match. Winner of this match gets a #1 contendership for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This Casino Gauntlet and the Casino Gauntlet match is a concept that Tony Khan has come up with. I don't know if this was a planned idea. I don't know if this was born in the night while drinking and partying with some White Claw. I don't know. But we've already seen 3 of these this year, including this one. 3 gauntlet matches. Now, I love the concept. And AEW is still obviously working out the kinks for this match concept. It's a gauntlet match with a take and a spin on the Royal Rumble, which is great. If you're going to take a page, no pun intended to Adam Page, if you're going to take a page out of the WWE playbook and try and make the Royal Rumble concept your own, this is a great way to go and do that. Now, the rules of this match are simple. Orange Cassidy won a number 1 contendership, or a number 1 spot, I should say. He won the number 1 spot in this match on Dynamite when he beat Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. So he won the first placement in this match. He came out first. The match can end at any point. So no matter who was number 2, which I don't really understand why Orange Cassidy won the number 1 spot, but the number 2 spot is the same as the number 1 spot. So Orange Cassidy had to win his number 1 spot, but the number 2 spot was just given the number 2 spot without actually doing anything. It's the same as the number 1 spot. Don't really understand that. Why don't we put a focus on number 2 as well? Because it's the same thing as number 1. But the match could realistically end. No matter who number 1 or number 2 is, if number 1 pins number 2, the match is over. Now, it's not going to happen that way because it's never going to be booked that way. It's a scripted program, but the concept of this is 21 men, and they all come out at a specific time interval. I don't know what the allotted time is for people to come on out. It looked like it was all over the place. Sometimes it felt like 60 seconds. Sometimes it felt like fucking 30 seconds, to be quite honest with you. I don't know what the exact time is, but they're clearly still working out the kinks for this match. It's a gauntlet match with a take on the Royal Rumble. It's a gauntlet match where they take on Lucha Underground's Aztec Warfare, which is great. I thought Aztec Warfare was fucking fantastic when they did it. Now, there's 21 people in this thing. 21 participants. I love the concept. I think the unpredictability of it is fantastic. I love the anticipation of counting down who's coming out. The best thing about the Royal Rumble, we don't know who's coming out at what number they're coming out. Fans are highly interactive with the countdown timer. You got some big names in this thing. It leaves it open for potential returns, major debuts from free agents like we saw tonight as well. Just a litany of surprises, man. I love it. This is really, really great. And if they could really tighten things up here, AEW's got a fucking winner of a concept. Now, what I mean by that is, we got 21 people in this thing, great. But what's the time interval between everybody else? I felt like sometimes it was long, and I felt like sometimes it was short, which probably played into the fact that there was poor time management on this entire show. Is it 60 seconds? Is it 30 seconds? Is it 45 seconds? It should honestly be 60 seconds. I mean, anything after that with 21 people is maybe too much. I mean, the extent I'd go is 90 seconds. If you want to do 90 seconds, that's fine. That's what the Royal Rumble is. It's a minute and a half. So give me the proper time for when everybody's going to be coming out. AEW had this thing all night where the countdown timer seemingly came in late every single time. I don't know what that was. We got the countdown timer on the screen, you know, coming out next. It's 4, 3, 2. Like, why are we starting the countdown at 4? Why don't we see the countdown starting from 10? Everybody loves to count down. The Rumble countdown is 10. Why are we not doing, why are we in the middle? Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4. I mean, holy shit. Why were we so late on the countdown timer? I don't get it. See, little things like that bother me. Now, the winner of this thing is by pinfall. So, like I said, you can get 18 of the 21 people in there. If a pinfall happens before number 19, 20, and 21 come out there, the match is over. The match is over. It doesn't matter who else is slated to come out. But this is a concept that I hope that they continue to work on. I don't want to see another gauntlet match for the rest of the year. I don't want to see another gauntlet match in the beginning of 2025. This needs to be a specific concept for a specific show. That's it. I don't want to see this on a random Dynamite to crown a number one contender for the international title. I don't want to see this on a random Collision for a number one contendership for Jack Perry in the TNT title. No. It needs to be a concept that is held once a year. It needs to be a concept that has a special feeling around it and a special concept fit for an environment such as this. This is your biggest show of the year, and it should take place at All In. If the title is on the line, a title shot is on the line, a shot at the AEW Championship is the prize at the end of this match, it should be a one-time-a-year affair. It should not be for any other title in the company. Save it for All In. You want to get everybody involved on this type of show? This is the type of match that you are going to go out there and do. You want to return? This is the type of match to return in. You want to debut? This is the type of match to debut in if you're a free agent. The only other show that it would go in line with is Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing, Casino Gauntlet. They got the Casino Ladder match there. Save the Gauntlet match for All In. Name of the show fits the Gauntlet match and the Casino Battle Royal. That's fine. The Casino Gauntlet match, fine, All In. I'm going all in at the poker table. Great. It's the way it should be. But they need to iron out all the details here. They need to tighten up the presentation of this match. The countdown timer bugged the shit out of me. I want to see a countdown timer of 10. Felt like the time was all over the place. Like I said, 60 seconds. Felt like 30 seconds when some of those guys came out because I think they were stretched for time. Maybe having the match end before everybody's out there also needs to be taken into consideration as well. Maybe we can make it into a gauntlet / battle royal. Maybe that's what they need to do. Maybe people can get eliminated during this match. And when everybody's in the match, all 21 guys are in there, when everyone is out there, they have to win via pinfall. Freshen it up. That sounds like a sound idea to me. I would like to get everybody involved. A 21-man gauntlet match sounds like a daunting challenge to book. So if you mix a battle royal, Royal Rumble into a gauntlet match, I think that would work out pretty well. I thought this was great. I thought this was one of the best things in the entire night. I had fucking a blast watching this thing, man. I just felt like I was watching the Royal Rumble for AEW. It's great stuff. Orange Cassidy was the first entrant. He was met by Kazuchika Okada. Everybody was wondering what Okada's going to do on the show. He beat Claudio. Oh, actually, he didn't beat Claudio. He went to a draw with Claudio on Dynamite. And everybody thought that this match was going to get a rematch here at All In. Other people were like, well, maybe Jon Moxley steps up to the plate and challenges Kazuchika Okada for the International Championship. We didn't get none of that. We didn't get a rematch for Claudio. We didn't get Jon Moxley. We got Kazuchika Okada in this gauntlet match, which I thought worked out beautifully. I thought this was great. He came out at number 2. And out at number 3, after they battled back and forth, there was a Rainmaker attempt that was blocked by Orange Cassidy, who got a roll-up on Okada. Out at number 3 is the return of Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness was in the AEW All In Casino Gauntlet match. He came out to Oasis, effing in the bushes, to a huge reaction, which was unbelievable. He had a stare down with Okada, series of fake outs from McGuinness, led to him slapping Okada right in the face. We got a couple of discus lariats by both guys, and everybody was going crazy for Mr. McGuinness, man. Happy to see him back, and he got a huge moment here. So again, you know, Tony Khan, no matter how much shit he gets on social media, man, the man knows how to create a moment. And that's exactly what happened here with Nigel McGuinness. Great stuff. Kyle O'Reilly came out at number 4, hit a sliding knee strike on McGuinness before Okada put a stop to it. Zack Sabre Jr., who won the G1 Climax this year. He was out there at number 5 to a big pop because he's from the United Kingdom. Cassidy went for another Stun Dog Millionaire, but Sabre escaped into a submission. Sabre and O'Reilly went at it. McGuinness and Sabre had a face-off. And out at number 6 comes Roderick Strong. Sabre welcomed him, and Okada was still locked in a submission. Strong dished out some backbreakers. Mark Briscoe came out at number 7. He immediately goes for Redneck Kung Fu. He delivered that to Roddy and Okada. Sabre sent him to the floor. O'Reilly and Sabre had a technical back and forth. Briscoe flew off the apron with a dive onto Zack Sabre. Cassidy sets up a chair, and Briscoe hits a dive off the chair onto Roddy and Nigel, who's on the outside. Hangman Page is number 8. He went right for legitimately everybody in the match. He dodged a Cassidy dive. He took the fight to Briscoe and O'Reilly. Okada and Sabre went to the outside by Adam Page. He sent them both out there. Cassidy was dropped with a big fallaway slam as he caught Orange Cassidy, did Page coming off the top rope. Okada ate a slingshot dive. Strong took a powerbomb onto the apron. Cassidy dodged the buckshot, and then he did Page a deadeye. Devastating deadeye to Orange Cassidy. Jeff Jarrett comes out at number 9, and he goes right after Adam Page as they had a little scuffle on the weekly program for a couple of weeks. Karen Jarrett got involved. Karen Jarrett was on the apron, and Page grabbed her by the throat. And out at number 10, we get the fans standing up. We get a theme music we never heard before. We see this big R on the screen, on the stage, and then the R gives way to Ricochet. Ricochet's name is spelt out in big orange and yellow letters on the big screen, and the crowd goes fucking crazy, man. Huge pop for Ricochet. He absolutely wasted zero time getting involved. And I love, man, the one thing I love to see and to watch and to admire is someone who we all know was unhappy. I can't imagine he was completely unhappy, but he was unhappy creatively. He felt like he did not get what he truly deserved. As far as his talent is concerned, creatively, he didn't get what he deserved in WWE, and now he's in AEW. When Ricochet came out there, man, this was like a brand new man. And obviously, it's his debut. He's excited. He's energetic. He's got all that adrenaline pumping through his body. He's out there. He wants to prove himself. He wants to fucking have a great showing. It showed. His body language, the way he was moving around. I mean, everything he did. For what he did in this match, he did it to absolute perfection. Precision was on point with Ricochet. He was flowing. He was dancing. He was just having a great time out there. He is going to do, for as long as they have creative for him and as long as they keep him, invested and giving him something to do, this is where he's going to thrive. If you were a fan of Ricochet before he came to WWE and you've seen a little glimpse of that, and the way he worked in NXT, when he worked with Velveteen Dream, and he worked with Adam Cole, and he worked with guys like Andrade and Johnny Gargano, it's going to be fucking unbelievable to watch this man work. Unbelievable. This is where he needs to be. He's going to fucking kill it here. Is there a possibility that he is definitely a flavor of the next couple of months and then kind of falls off? Sure. We've seen it happen time and time again with everybody else that comes on in with major star power and major flair from the other place, and they don't really get treated as a major star, and they kind of fizzle out, and they're treated like everybody else. We don't want to see Ricochet end up on fucking Rampage. We don't want to see Ricochet end up on fucking AEW Collision where no one's watching. He needs to be at the forefront. What I also have a problem with, and the fans are excited about getting Ricochet, and you're going to see something special out of Ricochet. He's going to deliver banger after banger after banger. He's the best high flyer in the business. But what I also keep in the back of my mind, just from a fan of AEW and someone who sees this shit a lot differently than other people, how many people on that active roster sitting in their positions, in their spot, look at someone like Ricochet coming on in and they get bumped back down another slot? There's already hungry talent starving for television time. Now you bring in another ex-WWE guy, and you're going to give an ex-WWE guy more television time instead of the AEW young kid or someone who's been there starving for fucking television. Now, here's Ricochet. Come on in, Ricochet. We're going to give you a major feud with Will Ospreay. We're going to give you a major feud with Christian Cage. We're going to give you a major feud with MJF. Again, you might not care about that because you want your dream matches. You want Tony Khan to book for the sickos. But I have a problem with that. I look at that as a problem. Because Tony Khan already has a roster that's busting at the fucking seams. He's got talent that he doesn't know what to do with. He's got talent on that roster that he doesn't even have a fucking clue that are there making money. Just throw money in the fucking garbage. These guys are begging for television. Hey, Ricochet, come on in. All right, but what about me? I got to wrestle on fucking Ring of Honor. I'm trying to get my fucking feet in the door. Here's another ex-WWE guy. We'll see what happens. I'm excited he's here. I am. The prospect of a Ricochet MJF, Ricochet Ospreay, Ricochet Omega. I mean, I don't even know if you got blood pumping through your fucking body if you're not excited about that shit. He came out to a huge pop. Wasted no time. Typical Ricochet shit out there. He's fucking flipping and diving all over the place. Springboard shooting star out to the floor. Christian Cage comes out at number 11. Comes out clutching his ribs because he's obviously selling the effects of the ladder match. So he's out there. He was wiped out by a Ricochet dive immediately. Buckshot lariat by Adam Page on Ricochet. Page made the cover. Okada comes in so nonchalantly and puts a weak boot to the back of Page to break up that cover. No, bitch. You ain't winning this match. So Okada breaks up that pinfall, pissing Page off. Okada is in Deadeye. He escaped it. Rolling elbow from Page led to a buckshot lariat attempt, but Karen Jarrett again hooks the leg from the outside. Jeff showed up and smashed Page in the face with his guitar. Rainmaker by Okada on Jarrett. Zack Sabre Jr. ducked a Rainmaker into a submission. Cassidy nearly stole it with the crucifix. Sabre and Cassidy traded wild pinning attempts. And Cassidy hits the orange punch. Something's flying around in my face. I don't know where the fuck it came from. Cassidy hit the orange punch as Strong came in with the end of Heartache. Briscoe flew in with a froggy bow. McGuinness is still in there. He spun out of a J-Driller. He got hung up by O'Reilly with Briscoe and hit a Tower of London, did McGuinness, for a close 2 count. Roddy saved O'Reilly from a big lariat, but McGuinness hit his bounce-back lariat. Cage flew in with the spear on McGuinness. Luchasaurus comes out, and he was number 12. So we got 21 guys in this thing, and we only made it through number 12. He and Cage had a stare-off, because at the end of the match, Christian was berating and belittling Killswitch. They announced him here as Luchasaurus. So I don't know if that has anything to do with that or if that was a botch. I don't really know. They called him Luchasaurus here. Did he change his name all of a sudden from the opening match to this? Maybe that was done by design. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out on Wednesday. He had a face-off with Christian. He took Christian by the throat. Instead, he opted to chokeslam O'Reilly. He put Cage on his shoulders, on top. And actually, no, he put Cage on top of O'Reilly. I'm thinking the ladder match. He put Cage on top of O'Reilly, and that was enough for the 1, 2, 3. Luchasaurus helps Christian Cage win the AEW #1 contendership for the World Championship, and Christian Cage wins the Casino Gauntlet match. The match was great up until the ending. The ending felt flat. It felt fucking... It's just like you took a pin and you popped that balloon. Everybody was so excited. Everybody was so hyped. And then we get Christian Cage. Christian Cage winning the Gauntlet match. Christian Cage, once again, is the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. After we just got Christian Cage against Swerve Strickland in Swerve's first feud as world champion. And now we're back to Christian Cage. winning the number one contendership. I can't hate on Christian Cage because Christian Cage is fucking phenomenal. Can't hate on it. Can't hate on it. Can't hate on it. I will not do anything to shit on Christian Cage. But was it disappointing knowing that we got a lot of people in that match that could be the number one contender? Page, Okada, Ricochet. Yeah. Even McGuinness. Even McGuinness had a chance to win. But Christian Cage winning, a lot of people were asking me, JD, why did Christian Cage win this match? Christian Cage winning this match basically gave you the outcome of the main event, in my opinion. I think everybody kind of felt like Bryan was going to win the main event anyway and win the world championship, but Christian winning this match really opened up that door more so for Bryan Danielson to win the AEW championship, because why would AEW go back and do Christian versus Swerve again? Christian won. Did you see at the end of that match, if you guys watched the pay-per-view along with me, did you see at the end of the match, they specifically showed Adam Page, his hair was like fucking Einstein-like all over the place. His hair was fucking wild, this angry smirk all over his face. He was seething with anger, was Adam Page. They focused on that for a reason. I said right there, that's the reason. That's the reason why Christian Cage won. Christian Cage already made a promise that he was going to win the AEW Championship, at least work his way back to the AEW Championship. So he made a promise on what he said a couple weeks back on Collision. There you go. So he lived up to his word. Adam Page, you saw what he looked like at the end of the match. Adam Page not winning this match, where I felt like he should have. A lot of people felt like he should have won, but I'm trying to think logically here. The psychotic nature of Adam Page not winning this match, driving him deeper and deeper into this fucking psycho rage, because all he wants is Swerve. All he wants is the world championship. All he wants is to take everything away from Page, or Swerve rather, does Page, and make Swerve suffer. That's the story. That's the reason why Page did not win this match, and they gave it to Christian. Now we're probably looking at, from this point on, Page showing face in the main event, doing whatever he can. If he can't win the gauntlet match and win the number one contendership for the world championship, he's got to make his own way to Swerve. If I can't win this and take the title off him personally, I'm going to have a hand in taking the title off of him no matter who is wrestling Swerve. I'm going to cost him the belt. That's exactly what we've seen play out. Christian Cage versus Bryan Danielson is also a safe enough match if they wanted to get Bryan on the all-out card and have him in the main event against Christian Cage. It's simple. It's effective. Should be a great match. It's a nothing show, honestly. This is their big show. That's like an extension. It's not going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be like, oh, the greatest show ever, man. They're not going to have a fucking gigantic production. It's all out in Schaumburg. Bryan versus Christian is fine for that show. I'm sure they'll make it work. Get it out of the way. Bryan versus Christian, it's a safe enough match to give him a win in his short title reign that it will be for Bryan Danielson. Then we get Grand Slam, and then we get Bryan versus Darby, which is a first-time match. It's going to be a great match for Grand Slam on Dynamite. Should be fun. And then that'll be it for Bryan's run. But last year, they booked Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley in the main event of All Out. So, I mean, if you're looking at, which was a fine match, it was very good. So if you're looking at that, and then you're wondering, well, why are they doing Bryan versus Christian potentially at All Out? It's no worse than what we got last year. Plus, we got a lot of story. We got more story this year going into All Out than we did going into last year's All Out. We got more story going into All In than last year's All In. At least AEW did a great job of building the show for All Out and All In this year at the same time. You got to give them credit on that. We got some top-tier matches coming out of this show, getting ready for All Out. That's more than we can say last year. At least last year, we got zero story. It was just it was a show with matches. That's all it was. So after thinking about it, I didn't really mind Christian winning. But did it deflate the crowd? Absolutely. Absolutely. Will Ospreay. He wrestled MJF for the AEW American Championship, which then gave way to the returning International Championship. Whether you like MJF or not, I know there are a couple of people when I praise MJF, think MJF's too small, which, I mean, I don't know where the fuck these people are looking. I don't know what you're watching, right? Dutch Mantel, listen to Dutch Mantel say something about fucking MJF this week. It was in my recommendeds on Twitter. He said MJF is too small. There's one thing that MJF is going to have to worry about if he makes the jump to WWE is that by default, if he's in there with anybody that's bigger than him, he's going to be small. Well, no shit. He's going to be small compared to a Drew McIntyre or small compared to a Randy Orton. Why does that matter now in 2024? I don't get it. Is MJF the biggest guy? No. But why are we taking away a potential Hall of Fame run in this guy's career because he's small? He's not small. I don't really get that narrative. Whether you like MJF or not, the babyface shit with Adam Cole, the kangaroo kick, the bullshit that we saw last year leading into the Devil storyline, you can't take away from the man's body work. It was the greatest AEW championship run that we've seen in the current lineage of AEW champions. His work rate has increased match after match after match, month after month after month. If you came to me and told me that MJF, the greatest pro wrestler in the world right now in the business, I would not hesitate to argue with you at all. I am not going to say a fucking word. Not going to say a goddamn thing. It's a very subjective topic. You could say Randy Orton, you could say Gunther, you could say Cody Rhodes, you could say Bryan Danielson, you could say Will Ospreay. It doesn't fucking matter. Everybody's got their own choice in the matter. Right now, the top two guys in the business, top three guys, I would say, two of the three are in this match. Will Ospreay, Gunther, and MJF. Top three in the world right now. No questions asked. I don't want to hear anything from anybody. Those are the best three wrestlers in the world. And if he ain't in your top three, MJF is absolutely in the top five, no questions asked. If he's not in your top five, then you're not really watching wrestling with an open mindset. You're not watching wrestling in the proper way. Everything that MJF does is for a reason. Everything. A lot of people were wondering, well, he came back, he got rid of Cole, we deaded the Devil storyline, we deaded the Adam Cole feud, which I hope that they revisit at some point. Love to see another match with those two when Cole is hopefully 100% healthy. He got rid of all this. He comes back with his Triple H fucking jacket. Everything minus the sledgehammer. And we thought we were going to get babyface MJF. We get this Daniel Garcia angle that shifts MJF back to being the fucking villainous prick that we all loved. We didn't know what was going on with that. He won the International Championship from Will Ospreay in a fucking match that will go down as one of the best matches this company's ever produced. 59 minutes and 58 seconds. Won the International Championship, came out the next week, and made Mr. America. He's our American hero. Everybody's a red-coated terrorist. He threw away the International Championship in the garbage and made the American Championship. A lot of people were like, well, why are we going to these lengths? Why? What do you want out of someone who is one of the best villains, one of the best heels in the business? He gets it. He just gets it. You can't take that away from him. Said this on social media. I'm going to reiterate it to you guys again. What MJF did from that Dynamite where he introduced the American hero gimmick and the American title, you saw what they were going for right out of the gate. And it really made me say, you know what? Potentially Daniel Garcia and MJF will cross paths, but not at All In. It was always going to be MJF and Will Ospreay. But are you going to give me MJF, who is Scarf MJF wearing the fancy fucking suit with Triple B? Or are you going to take MJF's character to the next level and take MJF entering fucking hostile territory in a foreign land with Will Ospreay, who is the hometown fucking conquering hero. Do you want MJF to be MJF, or do you want MJF to be Mr. America, America's hero, MJF? Branding himself with American flags and carrying around the American title. Because that's what a heel does. The storytelling was perfect. Everything that MJF put into this gimmick, no matter how short it was, it made the moment for Will Ospreay that much better. If Will Ospreay beat MJF, great. It's a great match. He beat MJF. He won the International Championship. Fantastic. What does it mean? But MJF gave you a heel worthy of entering foreign land and made everything about it being America versus the United Kingdom. Heel versus babyface. He added such a huge layer to the heel versus babyface dynamic that it made the whole fucking story that much better, and it made the match that much better. On top of that, you got the Tiger Driver 91, which MJF is a fucking bullshit artist. He's going to take every cheap shot he can in the book to win at any cost, yet Will Ospreay tries to be this blue-collar babyface who doesn't want to resort to such tactics. And he already retired the Tiger Driver 91 after what it did to Bryan Danielson, which, I mean, that wouldn't be me if I didn't call it out. I mean, Bryan showed up 2 weeks later and entered himself in an Anarchy in the Arena match after he took a fucking Tiger Driver, where we last saw him convulsing on the mat after AEW Dynasty. I guess maybe they swept that one under the rug. Everything he did had a purpose and led to Will Ospreay needing to hit the Tiger Driver 91. How can anyone shit on this match? How can anyone shit on this match? This was fucking great. Up until this point. After this was the best match of the night. Easy. Ospreay had a visually... I don't know how you would... I mean, it wasn't anything over the top, but the visual presentation of Will Ospreay's entrance was very Assassin's Creed-esque. Now, I don't know what Ospreay and Assassin's Creed has to do with it. I don't know if he's in the game, or a model of him is in the game, or the main character is modeled after the aerial assassin in Will Ospreay. I had no idea. Or maybe it was just a nice plug, and AEW got some kickback on a nice ad spot there for Assassin's Creed. So he comes out, and MJF comes out with his American flag, American hero gimmick. He's dressed as Max Creed / Apollo Creed. I thought he looked more like Uncle Sam tonight. And he's out there. He's got his USA flag. He's got the big MJF American flag coming down from the fucking big screen that's overlooking the ringside area. We got American red, white, and blue streamers all over the fucking place. I mean... it's crazy. He even had his Lex Luger 1993 SummerSlam trunks after he slammed Yokozuna and then challenged Yokozuna for the WWF title in Detroit at SummerSlam that year. Down to a T. If you don't think he cares and puts everything he's got into this shit, man, I don't know what you're watching. Match started off with a slugfest. MJF went right to the eyes. He was sent to the outside. He dropped Ospreay with a slingshot crossbody and a big Sasuke special. MJF, he evaded a hidden blade and an Os cutter. Ospreay avoided the tombstone, and we got a series of near falls from both guys. MJF avoided a poison rana, hits a power bomb on the knee for 2. He went for the kangaroo kick, but Ospreay dodged a heat seeker. He connected on the pip pip cheerio, and we get the match coming to a reset at that point. MJF did his best ravishing Rick Rude hip swivel. Eye poke. This left Ospreay to recover, and he tried for a handspring corkscrew kick. He did connect with it too. We get MJF spitting on Ospreay, so Ospreay results in hitting MJF with some Kawada kicks. Spits right on MJF again. Back and forth, standing sky twister press. MJF rolled to the floor. MJF was on the outside. Ospreay wanted another Sasuke special, but this time MJF caught him midair with a tombstone, which looked devastating on the outside. MJF then looks into the camera where the ring mics were very heavily mic'd. MJF said, anyone can flip, and you're nobody special. You're nothing but a piece of shit, he says. So he does or at least tries to hit a springboard moonsault. He landed on his feet. If there's one thing we know about MJF, he doesn't need to do this shit, but he's as nimble as he should be when he does these moves. Ospreay moved out of the way. MJF landed on his feet. Ospreay then hits a nasty Spanish fly on the outside. I got flashbacks to the Jay White match at Full Gear. I'm like, please don't do anything to re-injure yourself, please. MJF draped over the top rope. Ospreay hits a shooting star for a 2. MJF battles back. He hits a crossroads for his best friend. Spiking Ospreay for a near fall. Ospreay avoided the brain buster. Hits a stun dog millionaire. Follow with an Os cutter. Double jump Os cutter for 2. MJF got the rope break to break that pinfall. MJF then faked a knee injury or a leg injury. He dodged Stormbreaker. He hits a snap pile driver that spiked Ospreay right on the top of his head. He goes for recovery, gets a 2 count. So both guys are slow to get up. MJF popped Ospreay with a rolling elbow. Ospreay floated over a lariat, comes back with the Stormbreaker. Crowd chanted for the Tiger Driver, but Ospreay, he went for a hidden blade. MJF rolled to the apron. Os cutter attempt. MJF fell back, and Ospreay crashed and burned. MJF connected on a Panama Sunrise on the edge of the ring and then demanded the referee to count Ospreay out on the outside. He makes it back in the ring, obviously. MJF then teased a hidden blade. Ospreay collapsed. He goes for a heat seeker. That was dodged. Ospreay hits a hook kick and an Os cutter on the apron, which looked kind of sloppy. He didn't get all of it. Ospreay wanted a diving hidden blade off the apron, but MJF dodged, and Ospreay instead hit the cameraman. So there was this big ordeal about the cameraman, getting the cameraman help. Ospreay's on the apron, pointing to the medical. Help this guy. Bryce Remsburg is pointing at the cameraman. Let's get him some help. Where's MJF? What's MJF doing? He's cheating to win, of course. He grabs the American title. He takes the title and hits Ospreay, who went for a charge, but Ospreay kicked out. MJF then hits a brainbuster. Ospreay kicks out. Then MJF tried for his own hidden blade. This time Ospreay ducked. MJF was then sent into Bryce Remsburg, who took a nasty bump to the outside. MJF then bites Ospreay in the face. He then went for the Tiger Driver. Ospreay spun out. He wanted the move, only for MJF to hit a low blow. So he goes into his trunks. He pulls out some, I don't know what they weren't brass knuckles, but they were some sort of object that wrapped around his knuckle. All of a sudden, we see a masked man appear on the apron and shoved MJF down. Took the knuckles, shoved him down. He revealed himself to be Daniel Garcia. MJF staring as if he just saw a ghost. He was stunned. Ospreay leveled MJF with a hidden blade. He then connected on the Tiger Driver 91. Crowd went fucking ballistic. 1, 2, 3. And Will Ospreay wins the American Championship. He has Christopher Daniels come into the ring. He takes the International Championship out of a black sack and hands the International Championship to Will Ospreay. Fucking great match. Absolutely great match. Was it better than their 60-minute match on Dynamite? Again, it's all a subjective thing. Did I enjoy their match on Dynamite a little bit more? Yes. But this was so much more enriched in story that we wouldn't have gotten to this point if that match didn't happen. Excellent. Have absolutely zero to complain about here. Now we move Ospreay on to Pac at All Out for the International Championship, and Daniel Garcia versus MJF at All Out. Two matches that have already been built, one more than the other, but two matches that have already been built and established weeks before we get to Chicago. Love it. Everything about this was great. We got two more matches here. We're rolling on with the post show. If you guys enjoy what you hear so far, please hit that thumbs up. We are looking at 1,300 likes. Love it. Absolutely love it. Can we get that to 1,500? Would love to see that happen. Super chats are open, man. I'd love to see a little bit more action in the super chat. Get them on in. We will hang out at the end of the show with our cold beverages as usual, right here on OTS. Mercedes Mone with Camille against Dr. Britt Baker. This is for the TBS Championship. I was very vocal about this match coming on in. Very vocal. The suspension to Britt Baker really didn't do much to help at all. In fact, it actually harmed this match. It hurt this match a little bit more than anyone cares to admit. I feel like there was so much to make this into a special match coming into this show. I don't know what went wrong after the suspension or because of the suspension, but it just felt like neither party wanted to be involved in this anymore. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not reading the situation right. Maybe I am feeling off about it. But there was something seriously missing from this feud. There was not enough substance to make me emotionally invested like we saw MJF and Will Ospreay, like we saw Toni Storm and Mariah May, like Swerve and Bryan Danielson. This was the biggest women's match that the company has at its disposal. And this felt like a fucking collision main event at best. Now, following MJF and Will Ospreay is no easy task, no matter who you are. But these ladies came out tonight, and there was zero, and I mean zero reaction. This was fucking tough. This was rough to watch and see unfold. They barely got a fucking reaction, and it only took them until the last 7 minutes or so to finally start kicking things into that next gear. It took them forever to get to where they needed to be. And even when they did get to somewhat where they needed to be, it still ended up being highly disappointing. This was a match that should have been a lot bigger than it really was. They had more than enough time to salvage the shit build coming into this thing, and nothing really helped get it to the next level or helped it get to where it needed to be. I don't know. A lot of people are going to blame Mercedes. A lot of people are going to blame Britt. Britt is not as good as she used to be. Britt sandbagged Mercedes. Mercedes doesn't come off like she cares. Mercedes is a terrible wrestler. It could be a mixture of things. It could be a mixture of things. The first thing I'll say is this match going on after MJF and Will Ospreay, though you may think that the build sucks and that this match deserved this spot because nobody cared about it anyway, that's not the way that I think. Why would this, the biggest women's match in the company, star power-wise, why would you put them in a death spot in between MJF and Will Ospreay and Swerve and Bryan Danielson? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? To me, this match deserved second spot on the show. I don't know why it didn't get Toni Storm and Mariah May's spot. Why didn't this match go on second? Was there politics at play? Who lobbied for this match to go on at the end of the night instead of going on in the beginning of the show? To me, that's not wanting the best for All In. To me, that's not wanting the best for AEW. This match had no heat. This match had zero heat. You ensured it got zero heat by putting it on after MJF and Will Ospreay. Toni and Mariah was so enriched with emotion and story that they would have never went out there after that spot and left the crowd dead. That's a problem. I don't know why we didn't flip-flop these two matches. Is Mercedes throwing her weight around backstage? Is Mercedes getting this diva complex? Why does she need top billing when we all know she gets top billing? Why can't we get Mariah and Toni, which is the biggest women's storyline in the history of this company? Why isn't that getting top billing? Let's not start bending over backwards for people who aren't living up to their reputation. This spot should have been saved for Mariah and Toni. No doubt about it. They would have never gotten this reaction in this spot. You would have given Britt and Mercedes slot number 2. At least they would have had an energetic a crowd that just got there energetic, ready to see pro wrestling. At All In, at Wembley Stadium, and the crowd is fucking ready for the night. Said you give them everything you gave them up until this point. You gave them Toni and Mariah, you gave them Ricochet, you gave them Nigel, you gave them a gauntlet match, you gave them MJF and Ospreay. Yeah, let's throw these guys out. Let's throw these ladies out there in the death spot. I don't know if that was the right move to make. This match fell flat on its fucking face, man. When the match was over, people forgot about it instantly. How you paying Mercedes more money than any woman in the entire industry, and nobody will remember a fucking thing about this match? I find that to be very, very bizarre. What are we doing wrong with Mercedes? What are we doing wrong with Britt? I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but I feel like the suspension really caused Britt to not even want to be there anymore. It's the vibe I get. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I honestly, and I said that this is not the first time I said this, because I said this on Dynamite when I reviewed this with Jet. I feel like Britt don't even want to be there. I feel like the company is so far moved on from Britt Baker. She knows it, they know it, and time is the only thing left here to wait out, because Britt, when her contract is up, I don't think she's coming back to AEW. I think WWE will take her in a heartbeat. I don't think she wants to be there. Whether you think she's good or not, I mean, that's a non-factor. WWE is going to pay her and just take her away, man. They're going to take her away from AEW. And she'll go over there in a heartbeat. She won't be able to get away with half the shit she gets away with in AEW over in WWE, but at least she'll probably be where she wants to be and work. Maybe we'll start to see that Britt Baker of old, man, because I don't believe we got the best version of Britt Baker here. I see a Britt Baker that don't want to be there. I see a Britt Baker that is wrestling very half-hearted. I see a Britt Baker that at some points tonight I'd be like, did she sandbag Mercedes? Happened on those suplex spots. This is not the same Britt Baker we saw feuding with Thunder Rosa. This is not the same Britt Baker we saw feuding with Hikaru Shida. This is not the same Britt Baker we saw wrestle Chris Statlander in a great match. I don't know who this Britt is. Was Britt great before this? No. But Britt seems a lot worse now than she was then. Why? Mercedes. I don't think Mercedes wrestled bad, but I felt like Mercedes needed to slow her style down to work Britt's style, and that didn't really translate all too well. Again, that's just what I saw. This was not good. Nobody will remember this by the end of the night. TBS title. Monet. She was brought on stage by palace guards in a carriage that had corgis in it. I don't know if that was Ryu, her corgi, but there were corgis in a carriage, and she was delivered onto stage. And she walked out with Camille and the TBS title. Britt got a very Britt-like entrance. We got fireworks for Britt. She came out. Very normal entrance for Britt Baker. Mone hit an early kick. Baker responded with a quick hit toss and a lockjaw attempt. Mone bailed, and she goes into the comfort of Camille on the outside. Mone held up the TBS title. In the match that followed here, we got Baker going for her finish again. Mone avoided the lockjaw. Baker signaled for a Panama Sunrise, but got distracted by Camille, allowing a backbreaker on the top rope by Mone. Mercedes kept going after the back, hit a very awkward slingshot backbreaker over the knee before getting a second one, and it looked a little bit better than the first. Baker fired back with forearms, ripcord strike, selling the back. This allowed Mone to hit three amigos, which got zero reaction from Wembley. And like I said, it looked like Britt was sandbagging Mercedes along the way. Again, I could be wrong, but something I kind of pinpointed. Mone is getting zero reaction after the three amigos. Mone then connected on a violent double knee to the back out of the corner. Britt cut off Mercedes in the ropes. Mercedes with an avalanche body slam, followed up with a dive that missed. Baker tried for a curb stomp. Mone spiked her with the powerbomb. Mone charged, only for Baker to hit a cutter into a double down. Mone missed another charge, only for a discus forearm and a neck breaker to follow. Baker connected on a sling blade, butterfly slam. She then puts her glove on, and Mercedes escaped the lockjaw. Comes out of it, hits a neck breaker, took the glove off and put Britt's glove on her hand herself. She took too long to follow up, and Baker hits an air raid crash on Mercedes. So Baker takes the glove back, tried for another air raid crash. Mercedes rolled through. She tried for the Mone maker, only for Baker to get a near fall. Mone battled back, hits a backstabber, and both ladies are down. So Mercedes is up. She stomped on the back out of the corner. She wanted another avalanche body slam, but this time Baker spun out and hit some wicked slam off the top rope. Curb stomp followed. She went for cover, but Camille takes the foot of Mercedes and puts it underneath the bottom rope. It looked like she missed her cue, but it's worked out in the end. So Mone is still alive here. She went to go grab the TBS title. She tried to use it. Referee Paul Turner caught her and had to wrestle the belt away. Baker took the IWGP Women's Strong Championship from Camille, tossed it back to Camille, and did the Eddie spot where she hits the mat flat back, and it made a sound. Paul Turner turns around. She is down on the mat. She sees, or he rather sees Camille holding the championship. She thinks, you know, she played Camille here. Paul Turner thinks Camille hit Mercedes. We've seen this spot done 1,000 times. So he ejects Camille. Mercedes was dropped with a Panama Sunrise and a curb stomp. Baker finally got the lockjaw, but Mercedes bit the hand to free herself. Mone just ragdolled Baker into the ropes, followed by a Mone maker for the 1, 2, 3. This was weak. This was weak. One and done. Do we get a rematch at All Out? Maybe. Maybe. But I don't know where I can't see Mercedes not being on that show. Do we get a rematch with Britt? I don't know. I don't even give a shit. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't care. And she's got to change that finish, man. The Mone maker is fucking awful. It is one of the least impactful moves I've seen in recent memory, man. Let's go back to the bank statement and start using a tap-out finish. The Mone statement, whatever. This Mone maker is so fucking bad. There's zero impact on it. And half of the time, it looks fucking clunky and sloppy. Highly, highly disappointed in two women who are the biggest names in this division putting on a snooze fest at Wembley Stadium in front of 55,000 people. Are they to blame? I'm not going to blame them specifically and solely here. And I stand on my opinion. I don't think Britt wants to be here anymore, man. I honestly think the company is... They are checked out, and they are moving on from Britt Baker. That's what I feel. TNT title. Darby Allin and Jack Perry, TNT Championship Coffin match. This went 9 minutes. I thought this was going to go at least 15, 20. This was one of the matches I was looking forward to most. And this was a very one-sided match that ended up being a very, very lame and just throwaway finish. Throwaway match between these two. Allin skateboarded to the ring. Commentary pointed out how he has tacks placed all around his face. Allin hits a running dive right at the bell. Beat the shit out of Jack Perry with a chair. Allin hit a dropkick off the top to a seated Perry at ringside. But due to the tacks, Perry tried throwing punches and just messed up his own hand. Allin placed Perry against the coffin, tried for a dive, but Jack Perry moved and Allin bounced just ridiculously off the coffin. All of a sudden, Jack Perry goes underneath the ring, finds a bag, and in the bag dumped out a bunch of broken shards of glass. It is fucking sad that the highlight of this match and the highlight of Jack Perry's entire run so far as Scapegoat Jack Perry and the highlight of his TNT title run are chants of Cry Me a River and fuck CM Punk from the Wembley crowd tonight. That's what Jack Perry needs to hang his hat on, looking back at his Wembley moment and his Wembley match with Darby Allin. It's pretty lame. Perry dumped glass in the ring, got a huge reaction. Cry Me a River was being sung in Wembley. He took too long to follow up. Allin hits a body slam onto the glass, busting Jack Perry's back open. Fuck CM Punk chants we get from Wembley. Taz is mentioning how this isn't the first time Jack Perry has bumped on glass at Wembley. No shit. The first one got him and Punk suspended. And Punk ultimately fired. Allin went to the top rope. Perry swept out the legs, pulled tape out from underneath the ring. He taped Allin's wrists. Allin is bleeding. He managed a coffin drop out to the floor as Jack Perry had gone into the coffin. Both men fought up the ramp. Jack Perry hits a hard power bomb before whipping Allin with his own belt and tied his feet up. Perry mocked Allin trying to get out before chucking Allin off the stage through tables down below, which had to be a 20-foot drop. Perry brought the body bag over and zipped Allin into the body bag and then placed him in the coffin. Allin rose from the coffin inside the body bag like a zombie. Perry hits a running knee, spit on Darby Allin, closed the lid, and won the match and retained the TNT title. Boy, oh boy, man, that Elite storyline is fucking getting worse with every passing fucking week. Post-match, the Young Bucks walked to the ringside area with a can of gasoline. Perry lifted the lid, and Nicholas dumped gas all over Darby Allin, while he was still zipped in the body bag. Jack Perry lit the lighter, the lights go out, and Sting makes his return to AEW after formally retiring in February or March at Revolution. Seek and Destroyed by Metallica off of Kill 'Em All played over the PA system. Sting marched to the ring as the Bucks and Perry charged, but ate baseball bat shots. Perry decked Sting in the back with a chair. Sting no-sold it. Jack Perry bailed. This left the Young Bucks to take a double Scorpion death drop from Sting. Sting went to the coffin and helped free Darby Allin, who stood tall with Sting as they stared down Jack Perry. What does this mean? Are we getting Sting coming back to team against the Bucks again? Or is Sting going to wrestle Jack Perry for the TNT title? It's great that Sting is back. Great that Sting looked out for Darby. He said he would always look out for Darby, even in retirement, but Sting's retired. Sting is retired. This was a complete letdown. These last two matches were a complete fucking letdown. The one match I was looking forward to in this coffin match was a complete fucking letdown. The women's match with Mercedes and Britt, a complete letdown. So when you ask me, JD, was this show good? Yeah, it was fucking great. Was it perfect? No. You can cite these two matches right here as the reason why. Absolutely missable match. Were they strapped for time? I don't know. Was poor time management a reason for these guys only getting 9 minutes? Probably. I wouldn't be fucking shocked. Main event. No, I don't think Sting is coming back. Sting is retired. I don't think Sting is going to go back. If Sting goes back on that retirement from Tony Khan, man, he's an idiot. No way. Main event. Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This was an all-time main event classic for AEW. The storytelling in this thing was top-notch. The emotion in this thing took it to the next level. Bryan's family being out there, the ambiance, the crowd, the night at Wembley with the open-air stadium, Europe blasting over the PA system. Absolutely loved it. Final Countdown added so much. Music makes so much of a difference, man. It's unbelievable how music could just take something from being good to great, great to fucking unbelievable. We got a Danielson entrance that had a video package of him meditating and seeing flashbacks over his career from pretty much everywhere he's wrestled outside of WWE. Footage of him spending time with family, saying they make him the best possible version of himself, and he will always choose them, always. They really tried to make you believe that Bryan was retiring. Bryan went out on podcasts and interviews saying that he needed neck surgery, that he was really going to just call it a career and be home with Birdie and his son and Bree. I didn't think Bryan was going anywhere. I didn't think Bryan was going anywhere. So, Final Countdown plays. Danielson gets one hell of a fucking reaction. Unbelievable. Everybody in this stadium wanted him to win. It's a crazy reaction. Kissed his wife, kissed his kids at ringside. DJ Who Kid asked the crowd whose house. Nana waved Strickland out to the stage. And we get Flesh Garments and Bun B wrapping him to the ring. Match starts. We get Jim Ross on commentary. He did get the obligatory Daniel Bryan reference in there. JR's old. He knows he's old. Everybody knows he's old. It's all right. So we got an early strike exchange that led to a stare down before Swerve glanced over at Bree and the kids. Obviously, this did not sit well with Bryan. It angered Bryan. He lit up Swerve with some kicks. Went after Swerve's shoulder. Strickland escaped an early label lock. Got a slingshot over the top. He wanted to dive, but Danielson sidestepped. Strickland landed on his feet. Danielson springboarded off the top rope, which I was surprised to see. It's a somersault dive onto Swerve. Back inside, Danielson charged, but Swerve hits a tilt-a-whirl slam and a vertical suplex. Strickland kept Danielson grounded, zoned in on the leg, but as Danielson had a crucifix applied on the standing Strickland, who was on the apron, Danielson's leg clipped referee Paul Turner. Nana placed the ring bell on the apron. Referee didn't see it. Swerve hits a Death Valley driver on the apron, on the ring bell, and this busted open Danielson pretty badly. So Darby was bleeding, Mariah May was bleeding, and Bryan was bleeding. We didn't get a lot of blood tonight, but if I was to reserve the blood, it would have been for Mariah and Bryan. That's just me. They didn't really overdo it, so I didn't really mind it. But Bryan bleeding, I mean, I'm not really surprised. Danielson beat the count. He gets back in. Swerve questioned why he's doing this to his family. So Swerve dragged Danielson in front of his kids, in front of Bree, his face bleeding profusely, and he gives Bryan the Blackpool Combat Club stomps right in front of his family, man. What a sick, demented fuck. What a sick, demented fuck is Swerve Strickland. But everybody thinks Adam Page is the fucking heel in this story. Doesn't look like it to me. So, Nana at this same time is dancing as Swerve is just beating Bryan in front of his family. Strickland brings Bryan to the ropes, hits an avalanche angle slam. Birdie was shown hiding her eyes. They did focus on the family a lot during this match. Strickland tried a Swerve stomp, but Danielson avoided it into the Regal stretch. Strickland broke free, hits a big kick. Danielson turned him inside out with a big lariat. Bryan charged repeatedly in the corners with strikes before Swerve cut him off with a leaping flatliner. Danielson fought back with a cattle mutilation. But he turned that into a tiger suplex. Yes, kicks by Danielson. Swerve Strickland collapsed in the corner. Both men went up to the top rope where Danielson connected on this beautiful-looking avalanche tiger suplex for a 2 count. Danielson said it's time to kick Strickland's head in, and he did that. And then he sank in another cattle mutilation. Strickland bridged up, countered into a vertebreaker as Paul Turner called in the doctors. I thought this was actually going to take away from the match. I'm glad that it did not. But Swerve chased them away and said, get the fuck out of here. I told you I was going to end this guy's career and leave him broken in front of his family, and you are not taking that away from me. So he hits a Swerve stomp. Danielson kicked out. Multiple house calls connected. Danielson, at this point, is reaching out to his family. He's like reaching out. He's bleeding. He's on his knees. He's reaching out. Crowd went crazy for this. Commentary's questioning why he's doing this. Why is he putting himself through this? Why is he putting his family through this? Strickland tried for yes kicks, but after each one, Danielson hulked up and told his family he loves them so much. So he's reaching out to his family, and with every kick, with every punch, with every blow, Bryan is just absolutely no-selling this shit because the power of his family and the power of doing this for his family is making him stronger. This was fucking great. This was great. So Danielson, he slapped Strickland in the face. He lit him up with yes kicks before sinking in a triangle choke. Got in some anvil elbows. Strickland powered out. Danielson hit a suplex that dropped Strickland on his head. Busaiku knee. Strickland no-sold it. He didn't even go down. He wiped it off. I'm like, oh my God. He wiped off and shrugged off the Busaiku knee. He hits another house call. Strickland looks over at his family, at Bryan's family that is, and smiles. Hits big pressure. Danielson kicked out. Crowd is fucking yesing all over the place. I don't know who has kicked out of big pressure, but Bryan kicked out of big pressure. Strickland mocked the yes chants. All of a sudden, Adam Page shows up and launched security and Prince Nana to the floor. He was being swarmed by more security. They were out there quick to stop Adam Page. Swerve at this point was now distracted. He's looking at Adam Page. Get out, you want me? They're jawing back and forth. So Strickland's attention was turned to Page long enough for Danielson to do a Busaiku knee. Swerve kicks out. We got this is awesome chance. Both men are trading forearms. It turned into headbutts. Strickland tried a rolling flatliner, but Danielson hit a Busaiku knee. Yes chance rang out, and Wembley was going fucking crazy. Danielson locked in the label lock. Strickland tried to break free. Danielson snapped the fingers of Swerve, locked in the label lock again, and Swerve taps out. Wembley goes crazy. Bryan Danielson is the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Post-match, Claudio's in the ring. Wheeler Yuta's in the ring. Pac is in the ring, helping Danielson's family over the barricade. His family, the Blackpool Combat Club, are all in the ring celebrating with Bryan. Final countdown is blasting over Wembley. Confetti coming down from the sky. Birdie's holding the AEW World Title. Buddy was loving, his son Buddy was loving the confetti so much. He was playing with the confetti, and Wembley goes off the air. Man, this moment should have lingered for another several minutes. And AEW, man, if there's some negatives to take away from the negatives that I called out on this show, it's the fact that AEW did not allow anything to breathe. Like, this moment should have been something that we were admiring, something that we were proud to be a part of, something that we, took in. I feel like the show was just, he won the title and then they were off the air legitimately within 45 seconds. That's not the first time it happened all night. We went from one match to the next, one match to the next, one match. AEW does not know how to let shit fucking breathe. Like, I'm afraid to get up and go to the fucking bathroom during this fucking show. Just because I feel like I'm going to miss something. Again, a minor criticism. Time management. Starting the show the way that they did. This was a tremendous main event. One of the best main events that the company has put on. Probably the most emotional main event in the history of the company. I tried to hold back some watery substance coming out of my eyes because I love Bryan so much. To see him in that moment, man, it reminded me of WrestleMania 30. His family was there. This retirement tour, quote unquote. This was fucking great. This was great. But like I said, man, it's like AEW can't read the fucking room. All right, bang, bang, bang. Hey, we got to get out of here. We got to go to the scrum. This man just won the fucking world title for the first fucking time. You're not going to let that linger on television? Shout out to Bryan. Shout out to Swerve, man. They fucking killed it. A lot of people are like, well, I'm going to stop watching now. Swerve, they took the belt off Swerve. What a dumb decision. What did you expect them to do? Do you genuinely believe this man is retiring? He put his fucking career on the line. Now it looks like All Out is shaping up to be a banger show. Looks like Christian Cage may cash in his title match against Bryan at the show. Christian versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. Looks like we may be getting Page versus Swerve at All Out. I mean, that's a natural progression there, seeing that Adam Page kind of cost Swerve the title. So those two matches right there. Then we get MJF versus Danny Garcia. Will Ospreay versus Pac. We could be looking at FTR versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, or the Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Young Bucks. Who knows what the ladies are going to be doing. We got a solid show shaping up. I'm very much looking forward to what they do as a follow-up on Wednesday. But this was an all-timer show for them. This was a great fucking show. A great show. And if you didn't watch the show, I highly recommend you do. And if you're bringing tribalism into my chat or tribalism on social media, you can fucking kiss my ass and get benched. A block will be coming to you very swiftly and very quickly. No tribalism here at all. And for all the people that continue to say, I hate AEW, JD is a Triple H shill, he's a WWE grifter, whatever. He only talks about AEW negatively for clicks and views and likes. Fuck out of here. How many times did I praise what they did here while at the same time give you fair and constructive criticism on the things that they did bad? I had 2,700 fucking people in here, man. Still the number one place for all AEW discussion. Right here. Right here. Everything I say is fair. Always been, always will be. I don't choose one company over the other. Everything I say comes from a place of love and care. I thought tonight was a great show. Kudos to them. If there's one thing that needs to be taken out of this show, before I get into the super chats, there's one thing that needs to be taken out of this show. If you're a fan of AEW, now you know. AEW doesn't tell great stories all the time. I struggle, a lot of people struggle, of finding stories that matter, stories that you can emotionally invest in. There's one thing to be taken out of this show. It's that when AEW does a story and does it right, it makes everything better. If tonight's show did not prove that, they need to wake the fuck up quick. Been preaching this for months. Now you know. Did I say it out of a place of malice or a place of hate? Was I being negative for the sake of being negative? Or do you come here for proper pro wrestling discussion with logic and common sense? I only said it because I'm a wrestling fan at heart as well. Now you see what Story does to big-time matches on a big-time show like this. If you ain't taking what you did here and applying it to every other fucking show you give us on pay-per-view, I don't know why the fuck you're in the business to begin with. Pro wrestling matches only take you so far. When you mix great pro wrestling with proper emotion and story, look at what the results get you. That's all I ever talked about, and that's all I ever wanted. People think that's negative. People think that's me hating the company. People think that's me shitting on the company for whatever fucking reason. But at the end of this show, how are you feeling coming out of it, knowing that you got this emotion and top matches all night? Do you feel good? Are you excited about Dynamite? I know I am. We don't get that feeling all the time with AEW. They don't do that all the time. Sometimes they miss the mark big time. They keep on that same path and take this out of this show. That's the foundation for AEW going forward. You know you're going to get great pro wrestling from AEW. That shouldn't even be a worry in anybody's mind. Look at the fucking roster. But the storytelling, man, that's what's going to take them to the next level. Not a TV deal, not fucking international shows, not Australia, not fucking London, not going back to Wembley, not Texas. Story. If you don't got story, you don't got shit. Let's get into these super chats, man. I appreciate you joining me here on this Sunday night. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. Go check out the second channel, man. JD from NY Shorts. Nearing 5,000 subs over there after a week and a half, man. Love it. Go check it out. Next time you see me live will be on Monday night, following Monday Night Raw, man. Brand new week of content. We're going to close out the month of August the best way we can. Monday night live, Tuesday night with Solid Monster, episode 63 of Tuesday Night Titans. Wednesday, back with Jesse with Dynamite. Good shit. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Go get your t-shirts. We got some new merch. We got Tuesday Night Titans t-shirts now available on bonfire.com. Me and the Solid Monster, joint effort, man. If you enjoyed both of our contents, both of our podcasts, we got a collaborative effort here, man, with a brand new merch. Go pick it up at bonfire.com, the exclusive home of Tuesday Night Titans and Off the Script. And hit that thumbs up, man. We need 25 more likes for 1,500. Shout out to my guy, Boots. No message. He just leaves a $100 bomb right at the end of the show. Boots. See you on Tuesday night, brother. MGM97 with a 199. Just seen Geeks tweet, fuck the Royal Rumble. Laughing my ass off. Well, fuck that, man. Everything's got to be a fucking competition. I don't know why. Can't both companies have a concept that works great? Michelle with the $2 super chat. Did Darby lose weight? No. Did Darby lose weight? Darby's a fucking twig. Did Darby lose tonight only to beat Bryan at Grand Slam? No. Bryan is going to beat Christian. He's going to beat Darby and then probably drop the title back to Swerve. Honored One with a new membership. Thank you, Honored One. Dom Wapo with 14 months. I haven't been both happy and sad in the main event since Cody and Roman. Happy Bryan won and sad Swerve lost. This is why I love pro wrestling. Sinister Classic with 22 months. All In was dope. Bryan is our champion now. Hit that fucking like button. OTS for life, bruv. Yes. Thank you, Sinister Classic. New Bendy Comic Dubs with 24 months. Great pay-per-view. Almost from top to bottom. Hated the TNT title match. I don't know about you guys, but I hate Jack Perry's gimmick. It's based on someone not there. Jack Perry has zero aura. Nobody cares. And the reason why he gets any reaction is because of somebody that doesn't work there anymore. Which is sad. Vinny with a 199. But JD, I thought you hated AEW. Yeah, I can't stand them, bro. Can't stand them. I flew to London last year and attended All In Wembley last year and flew 7 hours back and forth from London to New York because I hate AEW. Captain Solo with a $5 super chat. Tony Khan, the pay-per-view MVP. Let's give him his flowers. OTS for life. JD the GOAT for life. Thank you, Captain Solo. Coke Boy, the artist who mixed, or remixed rather, that Mortal Kombat theme is Andy James. You could look it up on YouTube. Coiled Phoenix with a 33 months. This All In was definitely better than last year's, hands down. I loved all of it. I'm voting Strickland versus Danielson as a match of the year candidate. OTS for life. Cold Phoenix, thank you so much for 33 months. I don't think they're done. I think they wrestle in Tacoma at Wrestle Dream. I think that's where they're going. Captain Solo with a $5 super chat. Which one was sweeter? Bryan's Yes Movement WrestleMania Championship or this AEW Championship win tonight? Definitely the WrestleMania. Definitely the WrestleMania. Eric Aviles with 21 months. 21 months of the best family in the whole IWC. Fuck anyone who doesn't appreciate your work. We love you, JD. Drinks up. Thank you, Eric. Jack Perry was awesome tonight. No, he wasn't. The biggest pop in the entire match was a fuck CM Punk chant. Jack Perry was not over. Fire Panda with 3 months as a member here on OTS. How would I sum up Bryan Danielson matches? Real graps, cry me a river. Absolutely. Thank you, Fire Panda. Stallions Productions with a $9.99. I truly believe Swerve Strickland was a made man tonight. A WrestleMania main eventer with his loss tonight. The rematch between him and Bryan will be even more special. The guy is just great. He is. He is very good. Very, very good. And he signed a new deal, supposedly. Signed a new AEW contract that's going to keep him in the company for quite a while as they venture into new TV rights territory. And he's making a whole hell of a lot of money. So good for him. Basic with a $9.99. We know the Trios Championships were created for the elites, but suspensions and injuries happened. To be honest, AEW was built around them. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you create championships specifically for 3 men and 3 men only. Chris with a 25 months. What's up, JD? 25 months in this fine establishment. Thank you for being you. You are without a doubt the greatest in the IWC. I acknowledge you, brother. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Nate TV with 25 months. This geek, Brian Zone, asked Mercedes about her divorce at the scrum, and she said, I'm not going to date you. Proof we need JD at the scrums. Why talk about that? Shaking my head. You know, I don't know why anybody would want to know about that. She said everything she needed to say, and that's just prying for personal information, and whoever that fucking guy is, fuck them. Everybody that gets invited to those scrums is a half-witted fucking retard. WrestleMess with a $4.99. Ricochet is the best LTB story in WWE. Came in, wifed up Sam, eventually left. Have a great Sunday. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. OTS. Thank you, WrestleMess. Andre Benson with a $5 super chat. Only thing missing from MJF All In entrance was playing James Brown Living in America. Hollywood guy with a $5 super chat. Looking back now, Mercedes should not have left WWE, in my opinion. Britt might be jealous of Mercedes. Guardian with a $20 super chat. JD, your pay-per-view and PLE reviews are the standard, the bar, the absolute pinnacle in this entire community. This is known as the IWC. Fair, firm, and consistent, and dead balls on. Mahalo, bro. Appreciate you always, Guardian. Guardian's been with me for fucking forever, man. Boots, thank you again for the $100 super chat. Much appreciated as always. Always love seeing Boots in the chat. David Theron with a $10 super chat. Great review. JD, as always, I'm really liking the card so far for the Hog event in Chicago with Dijak and Mustafa Ali. Will you do a SmackDown review the day after or no? Yes, I will, David. I will be back home on Friday morning. Moon Man Ed with a $4.99. I agree on the Britt take, but if she goes, do you think Adam Cole goes as well? I do. I do think Adam Cole will eventually end back up in WWE. Triple H never wanted to let him go. And I don't think Adam Cole would have been out for the last year and a half if he ended up in WWE. Killer Swag with 25 months. Great post show, JD. OTS for life. Thank you, Killer Swag. Russell Bro with a $1.99. When do you think we'll get Ospreay versus Ricochet? I predict Wrestle Dream. Either that or World's End. I would not rush into it. Let it breathe. Let it sit. Let it marinate. He ain't going anywhere, and neither is Ospreay. SY505 with a $5 super chat. Just want to say you're the man. Fuck the haters. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. As always, SY. Advocate 005 with 3 months. MJF Ospreay, amazing match. Swerve Danielson, fucking banger. The Casino Gauntlet, great till the ending. No heat, Britt. And Mercedes was the low part, in my opinion. I agree. Indigo with 44 months. Oh, my goodness. Much respect, JD. 44 months. Talk about dedication. You bodied this review as always. Story matters in wrestling. Can't wait for TNT on Tuesday. We'll see you there, Indigo. Thank you, brother. Arrangements with a $4.99. Not sure if someone said it already, but Ricochet vs. Kyle Fletcher has been announced for Dynamite this week. Great. Looking forward to it. And Bradley Robinette with a $1.99. Do you and Baydala not get along anymore? I was on the phone with Drew yesterday for 45 minutes, and he called me during the show tonight. We're fine. I don't know why you guys are making something out of absolutely nothing. None of his tweets have to do with me. None. I might have went and said an off-color thing or two on Wednesday's show, which I promptly apologized to him about, but we're good. He respects me, I respect him. The world goes round and round. There's no problems. You guys are fucking crazy. Anyway, I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you for a great post show. 3 hours. Where are you getting this type of AEW coverage, man? Nowhere. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Go check out the second channel, JD from NY Shorts. Link is in the description. All the other content on this channel on the homepage. Hit that thumbs up. And follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Triple M with the 2. 3 hours strong. Keep up the grind, goats. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you very, very much. Make sure you guys tune in on Monday night. We'll be live for the Monday Night Raw post show right here on Off the Script. All In was a banger. Looking forward to Dynamite. Got a lot of great things to look forward to. They killed it tonight. AEW's in a good place coming at it tonight, man. Story is everything. Hopefully they keep it up. I'll see you later.